Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Houston.
Yesterday, the Astros evened the series with a bizarre win over the Brewers. Today, Zack Greinke gets a second chance after getting ejected in the first inning and taking the loss. Jordan Lyles takes the mound for the Astros, wanting to get back on track after a rough outing in Pittsburgh. So grab your favorite superhero. It's time to get up and dance. Astros baseball is next on Fox Sports Houston. Sunday baseball on Fox Sports Houston is presented by Hyundai. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. It's the series finale in the rubber game between the Houston Astros and the Milwaukee Brewers. Good afternoon on a rainy Sunday. Bill Brown and Steve Sparks filling in for Jim DeShays, who's getting an early start in the All-Star break. Crazy game yesterday, and now another crazy aspect of the series. Zack Greinke is starting again today, Steve.
Who would have thought? We thought he might be in long relief, but Zack Greinke coming back, trying to get his pitch count up to 5 in today's ball game. But Zack Greinke, early ejection yesterday from Sam Holbrook. Holbrook will be behind the plate. Greinke's been a great starter for the Brewers this year. Suspect of some trade rumors with these guys. Perhaps that's the reason he's back out there, but Greinke's their best guy.
And Jordan Lyles 2-5 for the Astros, trying to get off to the break on a very good start after a tough one last time out in Pittsburgh. We'll see who wins this series. It's Jordan Schaefer in the lineup. Jordan Lyles on the mound. Will the Jordans be able to handle Milwaukee? We'll find out in just a moment.
Brought to you by the Progressive Insurance Group. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. And by Jack in the Box. Get the All-American Jack Combo for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. Well, the Astros are on the field. We're getting set for baseball. The final game before the All-Star break against the Milwaukee Brewers. And up in the booth, let's go to Bill Brown and Steve Sparks.
Thank you, Greg. We're glad to be high and dry today with all the rain we had during the pregame time. And Jordan Lyles will get this game underway on time. Last two starts at home, he's had a win and a loss, but good results both times. The Hyundai Brewers batting order begins with Norichika Aoki in right field. Nigel Morgan's in center with Ryan Braun in left. The third sacker is the cleanup man, Aramis Ramirez. It's Corey Hart at first base. Ricky Weeks at second. Martin Maldonado the catcher. Cesar Izturis at shortstop. Zach Greinke is the pitcher.
And on the mound tonight, Jordan Lyles. Last three outings, had a couple good ones, and he had a rough one last Monday against the Pirates. He was hoping to turn that corner, but just needs to get back on it before the All-Star break to feel good about himself going into the second half.
Facing a man with a 14-game hitting streak to lead off, Aoki rips one up the first base line, and that will kick out toward the right fielder, Brian Bogusevic, and he'll hold him to a single with a nice strong throw into second. And with that reputation, Aoki was not going to stretch it, but that's a 15-game hitting streak for Aoki going into the All-Star break.
Very nice play right there by Brian Bogusevic. Getting to that ball really quickly, and that's huge for a pitcher. First guy of the game, you hate to see him in scoring position early on. Bogusevic does a nice job, especially with no outs, keeping speedy leadoff hitter for the Brewers back to the bag.
Good point. Another speedy hitter, center fielder Nigel Morgan is in there now. He might be bunting. Scott Moore's in tight at third. Morgan does try to bunt often. There's ball one to a .233 hitter with 2 homers. He's driven in 5. He's checking the signs from Ed Cedar, the third base coach. Morgan is 0 for 1 in this series. Got off to a very tough start this year. And it's a 2-ball, no strike count with Ryan Braun on deck. And Jordan Lyles, against left-handed hitters, has allowed a .333 batting average.
Jordan used to employ that slider a lot more last year on the left-handed hitters.
That's a strike, and it's 2-1.
It's gone more to the curveball this year against those guys. In a situation like this, though, when he's trying to make him hit it to the left side, I think Jordan would like to either crowd him or hit something soft away.
Very interesting story with Zach Greinke starting for the second consecutive game for the Brewers. That's foul back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Greinke, as you know, was tossed out of the game yesterday after 4 pitches. So the Brewers are bringing him back today to start for a second game in a row. And he is due to start the first game back after the All-Star break. A major league pitcher has not started 3 consecutive games by his team since Red Faber of the Chicago White Sox back in 1917. Faber started both games of a doubleheader and then again the next day. Aoki 11 for 14 in steals.
Red Faber.
You remember him?
You don't hear that name very often.
No,
was not a teammate either.
A line shot outside the left field line. Rattles around. It's still 2-2.
Wilbur Wood threw both games of the doubleheader in 1973. Lost both of those games to the Yankees.
Might be a while before we see that one again, Sparky.
They don't make them like Red and Wilbur anymore.
The Astros are 4-3 against the Brewers, 3-1 here in this ballpark this year. Lyles gets a foul tip strikeout for out number 1.
Wow, that's big time, especially falling behind 2-0 to Morgan. Fights back into the count and just runs a 2-seam fastball away from Morgan. Can't reach it. Check out the defense for the Astros. In the outfield, Martinez, Schaefer, Bogusevic. Scott Moore sliding over third base today with Lowry and Altuve in the middle. Chris Johnson still at first base. The veteran, former Cougar Chris Snyder catching Jordan today.
Now last year's MVP Ryan Braun, who continues to rake this season, leads the league in home runs with 24. He has 60 runs batted in and checks in at 304 and hits a shot to third, caught by Moore. Out number 2. tough luck for Ryan Braun. Some great luck for Jordan Lyles.
See this from Ryan Braun a lot. Just a lot of blue darters around the infield. Scott Moore's ready for the task. He's been playing a lot of different positions this year. Has made himself very valuable. It's going to be a hard decision for the Astros to send him down if they have to make a move for somebody else later on.
Now Ramos Ramirez comes up. And he taps one. Lyles has time here to barehand it, get it in his glove, and then throw on to Chris Johnson for the third out. No runs, a hit, and a man stranded. Nothing for Milwaukee. For the Astros, Schaefer, Altuve, and Moore come up against Greinke. Lineup for Brad Mills, whose club broke its 9-game losing streak yesterday with the win. Jordan Schaefer center field, Jose Altuve second base, Scott Moore third base, J.D. Martinez left field, Jed Lowry shortstop, Chris Johnson first base, Brian Bogusevic right field, Chris Snyder catcher, Jordan Lyles pitcher.
Zach Greinke's always done well against the Houston Astros in 5 starts, 4-1 record. That one loss being yesterday's baseball game where he got ejected after the second hitter with a 2.33 ERA. He's always done well against the Houston Astros.
The umpire is Sam Holbrook behind the plate. He's the one who was at first base and who threw Greinke out of the game yesterday. First pitch is ball 1.
Sam's birthday yesterday. He turned 47. I don't think he was happy with what he received. He was a little grumpy.
2 balls, no strikes, as Greinke was tossed out of that game after only 2 batters. Schaefer led off the game with a triple when Gomez tried for the diving catch in center. 235 is his average, 3 homers. He's driven in 20. He had 2 hits and scored 2 runs yesterday. And he smashes this one into center field. So Schaefer's right on the ball again. Off Greinke, he's now 5 for 10.
Something that we saw Schaefer do a lot early on in the season. Just keeps it real simple, takes it back up the middle, right where it's thrown. Have a lot of success doing it this way. Let's see what the Brewers, they got their first 3 hitters in the lineup out in the outfield. We've got Ramirez, Izturis, Weeks, and Hart around the infield. Doing the catching today is Martin Maldonado for the 2009 Cy Young Award winner, Zach Greinke.
Yes. He has had a fabulous career. Jose Altuve hit that ground ball, beat it out as he was called safe at first. He and Greinke arriving about the same time yesterday. 304, 5 homers, 26 runs batted in. And after that call, Greinke spiked the ball and then he was tossed out of the game. Altuve had 3 hits and a walk yesterday, drove in a run and stole a base.
Time for a push bunt down the first baseline.
Oh.
See if we can get a replay.
Jose's 3 for 8 in this series. This is his all-star send-off game. And he cracks one into right center field. That's going to be in for extra bases. Morgan runs it down. Here's Schaefer being sent home by Clark. And the throw to the plate from Weeks to slide. He is safe. 1-0 Houston. Altuve winds up at second base.
Greinke wanted to say something to Sam Holbrook right there. He's letting his manager, Ron Renicky, do the dirty work for him. Altuve does a great job going opposite field gap. Gets it by T. Plush in center field. Drives in the first run of the baseball game. Close play here. Look at Greinke come up there. He wanted to say something to Holbrook. Thought better of it.
And you saw Morgan kind of brace himself against the wall. He was a little off balance. Then the throw and the runner arriving at the same time, and Schaefer gets in.
That was close.
And now here's a foul ball by Scott Moore, who's on an 8-game hitting streak. All 8 as an Astro. And he hit his 3rd home run yesterday. He's hit those 3 homers in the last 7. That's 20 doubles for Altuve. 27 runs batted in.
Nice round number for Altuve to send off to the All-Star game. Looks good on the score sheet.
It sure does. This one kicks away from Maldonado, and now Altuve will move to third easily on the wild pitch by Greinke. And Greinke, after giving up 1 run to the first 2 batters yesterday, has done that same thing today and has another runner at third with nobody out.
He looks a little emotional already in this baseball game as well. You don't see him bouncing a whole lot of his breaking pitches. Altuve doing a nice job with his secondary lead. Gets to third base easily.
Infielders move in now. They play it halfway at short and second. That's in tight. 2-1. Greinke had not lost to the Astros in his career until yesterday. He is 4-1 lifetime, as you may have noticed on that graphic. And there's where he was drafted in the top 8 picks. He was number 6 in 02 with Scott Moore, number 8. Moore tops one up the first base line. There's Corey Hart checking the runner, barely getting the out. Out number 1 with Altuve holding.
Take a look at that 2002 draft. Another draft, a couple first rounders. Cole Hamels. A lot of good players in the draft, but those first 5 picks never really made their mark in the big leagues till you get to number 6 Zach Greinke, and Astros third baseman just 2 picks later with the Detroit Tigers Scott Moore.
Now J.D. Martinez, the infielders now move all the way in with 1 out. 240 is his average. He's driven in 48 to lead the club. And he takes that one, ball 1. J.D. was among the Astros players who went in and met with some of the military personnel here as a part of the Home Sweet Home program. Every Sunday home game at Minute Maid Park. Altuve hoping his teammate can get him home. And he takes a strike to make it 1-1.
Here's a situation right here. J.D. Martinez looking out there, seeing the infield in. You're just looking for a pitch up in the strike zone that you can lift to the outfield. The Brewers outfielders don't have great arms.
Good pitch, 1-2.
Anytime it's down in the zone without 2 strikes, though, J.D. will let those go.
J.D. had 3 hits in yesterday's game and scored a run. Bouncer up the middle, and that's an RBI single to make it 2-0 Houston. The hits continue to roll off J.D. Martinez's bat, and that is his 49th run batted in now. Altuve scoring for the 48th time.
Just like we saw Schaefer do early on, 2-strike approach, hitting the ball up the middle. J.D. Martinez, 49 RBIs on this season. Despite an average under 240, he's been really getting a lot of big hits for these guys, really maturing. Like we saw Carlos Lee in so many situations, not trying to do too much to drive that runner in.
Well, Jed Lowry will try to build on that. 2 runs on 3 hits for the Astros. Lowry in the number 5 spot today is driven in 36. That one goes foul, strike 1. Lowry is 2 for 7 with an RBI in this series. With that 256 average, having dropped here in the last month or so, but yesterday he had 2 hits and scored 2 runs, driving in another.
Ed Mills loves the fact that he's a switch hitter in that 5 spot. He can switch him around either way, provide protection for the young Martinez.
Takes that pitch for a strike, and it's 0-2. Infield shifting around, playing him to pull. And that's the way it's been most of the time this year when Lowry bats left. But he rocketed a double into the right field corner yesterday despite that shift.
Really quick inside. That's the thing that I think has surprised me more than anything this year. Both sides of the plate, how well he reacts to that pitch and keeps it fair.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Marco Estrada had been scheduled to start this game today for Milwaukee. So he, of course, is available in relief. Hard to know how much the Brewers expect from Zack Greinke after he warmed up and then threw just a few pitches in the game yesterday. Lowry swings and misses, and that's a strikeout for out number 2.
Pretty good execution by Zack Greinke. You throw that breaking pitch and it starts on the plate and stays on the plate just low. That's a hard pitch for guys to lay off of. Looks like a strike for a good portion of the way to the plate. And Jed Lowry can't hang up on that one.
Greinke's 28 years old, born in Orlando, Florida. Really developed with Kansas City. He was an all-star with them in that 09 season when he won the Cy Young. Chris Johnson takes his first pitch. There's ball 1 to Chris. Chris has 34 runs batted in to go with 6 homers and a .275 batting average. And that one's foul. It's a 1 ball, 1 strike count with Bogusevic on deck. Greinke is 8th in the league in strikeouts. He now takes over the league lead in starts with the starts in consecutive games. This is his 19th of the year. From his quotes after yesterday's game, Steve, he felt very badly about what he did, getting tossed out of the game, spiking the ball. He said he was mad at himself for breaking to cover first late. He said normally he is fine with that. He very seldom has lapses, but he had one yesterday on Altuve's infield hit.
I think he prides himself on being a good athlete and always beating the runner over there. In fact, said that was the first time anybody, base runner, had beat him over to first base on that cover. Felt angry about the situation, not so much the call from the umpire, but got tossed anyway.
Yeah, he took the blame for spiking the ball, said he really shouldn't have done that. And he really didn't blame the umpire for tossing him out of the game after 4 pitches and those numbers. He took the blame himself and said he was anxious to get back out here today because he owed it to his team.
Well, he had the manager in the clubhouse with him for about 3.5 hours after that situation, so probably talked Ron Greinke into giving him another start. It's tough going into an all-star break with a bad taste in your mouth.
2 balls, 2 strikes. So the scouts who came to see him yesterday, this is the last year on his contract, and there have been rumors that the Brewers might shop him, get to see him again today.
We saw how fast Greinke got out to home plate last half inning just to protect his player. That's other players noticed that.
Bouncer into center field, a hit for Chris Johnson. And that's number 4 of the inning for the Astros, who for the 2nd straight game jump on Greinke early.
Well, we're seeing a common theme in this game already. 3 hopper up the middle. As long as you can get it by Zack Greinke, it proves to be a pretty good formula for the Astros here in the early going.
Now 2 men on, and Brian Bogusevic can really stir up trouble for the Brewers. 22 pitches, 13 of them strikes for Greinke. Bogey at .220 has 6 homers. He's driven in 21. He is 1 for 5 in this series. Chris Snyder on deck. He looks at one in the dirt for ball 1.
See, Greinke looks a little fidgety out there to me today. Doesn't look real comfortable. Starts shifting his shoulders around a little bit, like he just can't really get comfortable. 2002 Gatorade High School Player of the Year. Great golfer, really good hitter for a pitcher.
It's 2 balls, no strikes. Well, that would stand to reason, wouldn't it? It's really out of a pitcher's routine to start for 2 consecutive days.
Sure, yeah. You know, and if he's going to pitch that first game back after the All-Star break and go into Red Faber territory, I mean, that takes a toll. I mean, it's a guy, obviously, the Brewers, if they fall out of this and they appear to be going in that direction, They have a lot of talent. You see Markham and Gallardo on the bench, and get Markham back in that mix, and a couple of the other pitchers in their staff. They could jump in if this isn't the strongest division in the National League.
3 balls and a strike. The Brewers currently are 8 games out. With front-running Cincinnati leading by a game, or Pittsburgh leading by a game over Cincinnati. There's that pitch for a strike. And then the Cardinals are 2.5 behind front-running Pittsburgh. So it's doable for the Brewers, who won it last year. That is ball 4. Bogusevic takes the walk to load the bases for Chris Snyder, and the troubles continue with Rick Kranitz headed for the mound.
Kranitz is just going to probably make sure he's okay. It doesn't look like he's getting great extension on these pitches, like he's cutting it off and not really reaching out toward home plate. You see the 3-1 pitch to Bogusevic bouncing your fastball is not a good indication that you feel 100%. You see the scouts in the stands asking themselves the same situation or the same question. Check out his right arm. It looks like he cuts this across his body instead of really reaching out toward home plate. Seems like we saw the pitch before that one had a lot of good late life on that 2-seam fastball, but when you start cutting it off, you will get extra movement on those pitches. You just hurt yourself with location.
Chris Snyder has a chance to put a really nice crooked number up for Houston here in the first inning. 193, about 314 with the bases loaded for his career. For Chris, he's driven in 17 this year. He is 2 for 6 lifetime against Greinke with an RBI. And that's ball 1.
Good layoff by Chris Snyder. Close pitch right there. Obviously Greinke doesn't want to give up a base hit right here and put his team way down early on, but good job by the veteran.
That comes back for a strike. That's an outstanding pitch. 1-1. Yesterday he threw 4 pitches. He's at 29 right now. That's foul. 1-2 with Jordan Lyles on deck.
Really tough pitch to elevate. 2-seam fastball away. See Snyder hit this off the inside of his foot, but you end up swinging and hitting that pitch so deep that it's really hard to keep fair with that much movement. And there's just not a lot of right-handed pitchers that can throw that 2-seam sinker to that side of the plate.
Martinez, Johnson, and Bogusevic hoping Snyder can come through here. He takes that one for ball 2.
What a big hit this would be for Snyder, especially the day before All-Star break. I think he could mentally maybe beat the Brewers here in the first inning if they could get a big lead.
Well, the Astros piled up a nice lead yesterday, 6-0, but then they had to hold on to win it 6-3, and they used 7 pitchers. Bouncer wide of third. Brewers also used 7, and today everybody's got to be available, right, Sparky? Final game before the All-Star break.
I think so. The Brewers have 3 days off. Astros have 4 days off. Check out this exuberant call by Joe West, letting everybody know that was foul. Who was the umpire? Do you remember the old umpire that used to be the wrestler? He used to do the real vague calls down the foul lines.
Can't remember.
Ken something.
Ken Kaiser?
Ken Kaiser.
Yeah. It's back in the days when he was an American League umpire, right?
Right, exactly.
And so there were, if you've been a National League fan most of your life, you may not know too much about those AL guys, but Joe West has been an NL guy. Well, last few years it's Major League umpires. So the distinction's been wiped out. Now 3-2. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Very big pitch coming early for Greinke. And these fans hoping Chris Snyder, the Houston native, can come through.
Looking away right here.
That's ball 4. Bogusevic was almost to second base, and then he rounded second. What a tremendous flying jump he had. And now it's 3-0 on the bases loaded walk, and a great job by Snyder after Bogusevic threw his walk.
Bogusevic with all the confidence in the world. Snyder was going to put this in play, and he was going to give him 3 RBIs on a single. Shaking hands with the shortstop, Usturis, on his way by.
Boy, got to be the biggest jump I've ever seen a runner have. That was something else. Now Jordan Lyles takes strike one. Lyles with 2 hits and 13 at bats has 1 RBI.
See a little activity in the Brewers bullpen now. Made a call. It could be Marco Estrada, the guy that was supposed to start this game today.
That would be a good guess, Sparky. 1 ball, 1 strike. He was primed to go anyway, so he would have been on notice, normally speaking, to pick it up and come in relief, and it is indeed Marco Estrada.
So mentally he's ready. He prepared for this day.
True. Swing and a miss there. Takes it to 1-2. What would be the difference, though, between Greinke's preparation and Estrada's?
Well, I think Greinke, he just wanted to get back out there quickly. He didn't want to sit on that last start of 4 pitches for 5 days and have to stew about that, and talked his manager into it. Estrada, they probably told him he'd be the first guy in the game if things went awry, and here we are looking at this, and Greinke's thrown almost 40 pitches at this point.
Just a different timetable, isn't it, with Estrada? He's mentally been preparing to face Houston today for the last few days, but now showing up today, not really expecting to be in the first inning.
Yeah, you know, and if he does get in this game, having to warm up quickly is obviously different, and coming into the game with runners on if he gets in this inning.
That's in for a strikeout, and the Astros send 9 to the plate. They score 3 runs. They put together 4 hits. They leave 3. 2 strikeouts for Greinke. It's a very busy first in Houston with the Astros leading it 3-0. Forward to Miller time. Later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Final game before the All-Star break. Players will be headed in different directions after this one. The airports should be very busy tonight. And for the fans, the big game coming up Tuesday night, a chance to see the best stars in the game perform in a game that will determine home field advantage for the World Series. Well, the American League's had a pretty good stranglehold on the All-Star game for the last 15 years or so. NL won a big one last year, and that indeed made every bit of difference in getting the Cardinals the World Series title.
Really did. It's amazing how those trends have been so streaky for the National League and American League. It seems like each league just gets a lot better at some point.
High drive. Schaefer way back toward the right center field wall and on the warning track. He tracks down Corey Hart's long fly ball, 1 out. And Lyles knew where to get an out for the speedy center fielder.
Doesn't get any better for starting pitcher in right center field here at Minute Maid Park. And when you see Corey Hart extend his arms, you're just hoping the ball goes in that direction, especially when you have a guy like Jordan Schaefer shagging him down out in center field.
Hart hit that ball a long way. And now it's Ricky Weeks. There's strike one to Weeks. He's been plagued by strikeouts this season. He has whiffed 100 times to go with a 192 average, 7 homers, 27 runs batted in for Weeks.
Doesn't look like he's completely healthy to me, Bill. It looks like that ankle's still bothering him.
He tops the curveball foul. It really, you know, some scouts have said earlier this season when the Astros played the Brewers, he looks out of balance when he's hitting. So maybe that speaks to your comment about the ankle, Sparky, because hitters will tell you if they don't have good couple of legs to really create that balance and push off in their swing, they're going to have problems.
Yeah, I think so. And I noticed it a lot on when he dives for a ball on defense. He used to be able to pop up really quickly. And now he stays on the ground and tries to throw it with all arm right now. And I think it's just because it just puts too much strain on his ankle.
Well, he hit a 2-run homer Friday night and sends this one deep to right field. Bogusevic's running out of room. Ricky Weeks hits another one out in that direction. He hit one to the Astros bullpen Friday night. And now this opposite field shot, his 8th of the year, makes it 3-1.
Like I said, it looks like he's getting healthy.
Yeah, that was with 2 strikes, so he didn't compromise his swing, did he?
He really didn't. And when he's going well, it's when he's crushing the ball the opposite field. So that could be a really good sign for Ron Renicke's team. See that high pitch, being able to stay on top of that ball, create backspin out the outfield. I thought Bogusevic had a pretty good shot at this ball off the bat. It just kept carrying.
Brewers have hit 101 long balls this year. There's strike one to Martin Maldonado. 255 is his average. 5 homers, 17 runs batted in. Yeah, they can slug. They can come back from a deficit. Strike to Maldonado, and Lyles has an 0-2 count. Lyles now has surrendered 10 home runs. He's in his 57th inning of work. Pretty high number for 57 innings. Curveball and the check at first. Check swing call.
We saw a guy try to catch a ball with a beer cup the other day. I've never seen a stroller. It's a car seat. And you don't see that very often.
No.
Either she was shielding her face or she was trying to get a free souvenir. Either way, it distracted Bogusevic.
Yes, it did. Swing and a miss. And here's the throw to first to complete the strikeout. Number 2 for Lyles.
Jordan has a good feel for his slider early on. We've seen it 3 or 4 really tight ones that guys are extending the strike zone. Maldonado can't hold up. Looks like a fastball to these guys, and it's just darting out of the strike zone.
Well, that's the equipment they brought, so they wanted to try to use it. Check that baby inside, though. His Torres looks at strike one. 209, 1 homer, 8 runs batted in. Make sure the little one's seatbelt is fastened if you want to use that car seat.
Yes.
Could be a wild ride. 1 ball and 1 strike.
What are you going to use if you break that thing on the way home? Get any garage sales around the neighborhood?
His Torres fouls it back. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count with Greinke on deck. Greinke throwing 39 pitches in that first inning. So will he be able to turn it around? How much longer will they go with him? Well, they're down now by 2 rather than 3. Bouncer to first base goes foul for Chris Johnson.
My guess is that Greinke won't bat twice in this game.
Yeah.
Especially warming up and pitching, albeit just a small sample yesterday. You know, it's still a little bit taxing to come back on the next day, especially one of your best pitchers. You don't want to risk injury. I don't see him lasting 3 or 4 innings.
That's hit foul.
I think he took that one in the schnoz. He's looking for blood. He gets it. It was worth it. He was embarrassed that he didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And then he took it in the schnoz. How about that, Bill?
It's a Jimmy Durante shot. Oh. check him out in the morning. He'll get up, look in the mirror, and say, "Oh."
He's not a bleeder, though. I like that.
No, he's going to be fine.
I think I would be down for the count.
Slap to the left side.
Oh.
Scott Moore drops it. Tried to make that play far to his left, so Lowry wouldn't have to make the play from the hole. It's ruled a single by his tourists. Now Greinke will bat.
I don't think Jed had time to get around that ball and throw out a speedy tourist. Nice stop right here. It's almost by Scott Moore. If he could have popped up right here, I think he had time. But like we saw yesterday, he's having trouble keeping the grass with the ball coming out of on the transfer.
Made a couple of errors yesterday in that 6th inning. Now Greinke has 5 hits and 29 at bats this year, but as that one's in the dirt, ball 1. He has swung the bat well in his career.
Showed a little bit of respect right there, throwing first pitch slider.
Yes, he did. Now there's a line drive into the left field corner. That's off the wall on one hop. And now his Torres is coming to third, getting a stop sign there on the double by Greinke. Ron Renneke gets a reward, leaving Greinke in, and he hits his 3rd double of the year.
Fastball enter third portion of the plate. Zach Greinke, all pitchers, that's all they want to see is a fastball. You do them a favor every once in a while and hang a breaking ball, but they're only geared for fastball. But you cheat a little bit on that like Zach Greinke did right there, you got a chance to square it up.
Now it's Aoki. He opened the game with a single.
First changeup we've seen from Jordan.
He falls behind 1-0 with it. Now 2 balls, no strikes. Beat San Diego here at home in his last start here, giving up 1 run in 6 1/3. But now struggling to throw strikes. He's fallen behind 3-0 on Aoki.
A little bit out of rhythm right now. It looks like he's trying to hurry up and get this inning over where he can forget about these base runners.
Now there's a walk to load the bases, and it's Nyjer Morgan coming up. And this game has turned. Doug Brocale out to try to help Lyles through the inning.
Don't want to let this get away from him. I think Brocale, number 1, is just going to give him a little bit of a blow, a chance to reassess what he's doing out there and just say, listen, we got a guy on deck is not the guy you want to face. You want to go right after Morgan. Let's not try to trick him. Throw him some fastballs, probably a fastball away. We're going to shade him away and see if we can get a fly ball to left field.
22 pitches now for Lyles. That's allowed Greinke a chance, even though he's the base runner at second, to get a little breather from his 39 pitch first. And the hitters are liking what they're doing early. Morgan is 0 for 1 with the bases loaded this year. That's out for ball 1. And first time up when he struck out, Lyles was effective, running the fastball away from him. They stay there but miss, and it's 2 balls, no strikes now to Morgan. Ryan Braun on deck.
This is the guy you want. Come on, Jordan.
Showing butt, and that's kind of the pattern the first time up, and he takes it for a strike. 2-1 to Morgan.
Sometimes that's tough to focus on the catcher's glove when a guy has the bat out in front of there.
Topped up the first base line. It goes to Chris Johnson, and that will be it. That's an awfully big out for Jordan Lyles. Holding the Brewers to 1 run on 3 hits. They leave the bases loaded. That one goes in the schnoz, and it's 3-1 Houston.
Flashback Friday here at Minute Maid Park will be presented by the Methodist Hospital System on July 27th against the Pirates. Astros will wear the 1980 shoulder rainbow jerseys on the field, and Mike Scott will toss the ceremonial first pitch. After the game, all fans, as usual, can enjoy Friday night fireworks presented by the Marathon Oil Corporation. Buy your tickets at Astros.com. Donnie?
Thanks, Greg. We look forward to that. And these fans watch the final game before the All-Star break. It's 3-1 Astros. They come up in the bottom of the second inning after having batted around in the first. It'll be Jordan Schaefer leading it off. He smacked a line drive single off Zach Greinke, leading off the Astros first, and came around to score. Greinke's numbers just about the same against right and left-handed hitters for the season. And there is strike one to Schaefer.
Greinke decides to try something different from Schaefer. Last 2 days he's hit fastballs for extra base hits.
Crowds him a bit. 1-1. This is the vital inning, it would appear, for Greinke, Sparky, after working so hard in the first. Then his club scored and was threatening to do more. There's promise that they could break out if he can hold down the Astros. So if he falters here, wouldn't be surprised. We wouldn't be surprised to see a quick hook.
I certainly think the Brewers had an opportunity to gain momentum back, but great 2-1 slider to Nyjer Morgan by Lyles to alleviate further damage.
There's a shot, but Hart is there diving, and he makes the play. A bid for extra bases up the line, denied by the former outfielder.
Much like Carlos Lee, it looks like Corey Hart's made a nice transition to first base. Reacts well to balls, goes after the ones that he should. A lot of times you see guys in that new position, especially towards second base, range too far off the bag when the second baseman could have had the play. But Hart's a nice job for these guys. Shows a little versatility. We've always known he was a great athlete.
We've been told he's dug a number of throws out of the dirt, saving his fellow infielders errors this year. Jose Altuve with the RBI double to right center. Got off to a nice start in this game. A little roller here. Greinke lets it go. There's the bare hand play. Ramos Ramirez to the stretching Hart, and that's out number 2. So Greinke now with a couple of quick outs, showing signs of being able to stay in this game for a while.
It's amazing how either one of those two plays could have been base hits as well, but the good defense from the corners, keeping Greinke's pitch count down this inning. You never know, that could catapult him through the 5th or 6th inning.
Sure could. Scott Moore rolled out to first earlier. That's upstairs. The All-Star break, of course, will allow some of the Astros injured players who are on minor league rehab assignments to get closer to returning to the roster. Justin Maxwell, one of those. And he could be back by Friday. He'll be going to Corpus Christi tomorrow, Brad Mills told us, after playing already at Oklahoma City, but they're getting ready for their All-Star break now.
A lot of good reports on Justin Maxwell, too. Picking up where he left off. He just needed a little rest with that ankle. It seemed like avoiding surgery might pay dividends for him, but 8 home runs in limited duty. He really showed a lot.
Greinke missing there. Falls behind 3-1 on Moore. That's Moore's long ball yesterday, his 3rd of the year.
In just 8 games, he's shown a lot of power, and that's one of the reasons you stick him in the 3-hole for the Astros. Astros have really struggled at that 3rd place of the order this year, just hitting .222 in that spot with a .311 on base percentage, compared to the opposition's .355 average and .420 on base.
Ooh,
I mean, that's a huge difference.
Good stat. That's out into center field. Moore didn't hit it as sharply, but he's aboard to give him a 9-game hitting streak. He's been on the screws with a lot of his hits, including those 3 homers and 2 doubles. That one that just fell in for him.
He does. See how he just blocks that baseball? His bat's in the strike zone a long time because he keeps his hands in front of the barrel, but you really guard against a lot of holes in your swing when you're able to do that. And right now he's in a great groove.
He really is. That swing's on a nice plane, as you pointed out. Now Martinez with a bouncer up the middle. His Torres is there, flipping to Weeks for the force on Moore. It's no runs a hit and the man stranded after 2. 3-1 Astros.
Move to the third, and it's time for our progressive fan of the game, and that title fits today's fan perfectly. Marianne Cheatham is our fan of the game. Tell folks why you're the fan of the game, what you have to go through just to come to an Astros game.
Well, first of all, I've been a fan since the Colt 45s, and I saw a lot of those games. And then the Astros came into effect at the Astrodome, and I went as many times as I could at the Astrodome, and I would bring a bunch of ladies a lot of times, and we'd come during the middle of the week, older ladies than me. And then I've got my season tickets here.
But coming to the game is not easy for you because?
I drive 155 miles one way. I stay for all 3 games and have a very good time. And I don't care if they win or, yes, I care, but I want them to win. But if they don't, that's just part of the game.
But you're going to drive 300 miles round trip to catch a 3-game series, win or lose.
Correct. And I love it. I love baseball. I played softball, that's why.
You have to love it to go through that. And that's why Marianne Cheatham is our fan of the game. She's here with some family having a great time in the Insperity Club. So here you go. There's your spoils for your 300-mile round trip.
I get to take it home. Maybe there's something in there to eat.
Well, there you go. There you go. Rowdy, back to you.
Oh, great story from Marianne. There's a strikeout of Ryan Braun, and here it is as he chased. And Jordan did a nice job of keeping that pitch down. Yeah, maybe there's a snack in there for Marianne.
Somehow that progressive bag right there didn't seem fitting for Marianne Cheatham.
We need to try to bolster the swag for her a little bit.
Yeah, what a fan.
How about a Steve Sparks autographed pack of Snickers or something like that?
She'll never come back.
Aramis Ramirez with strike 1. He grounded back to Lyles earlier. Jordan gets that one up, looks down at his footing, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
You know, Brownie, Kevin, and Bart and Patty and I see a lot of the people out near the Crawford boxes when we do the pre and post game show. And not to discredit anything that Marianne just said, but there's a lot of people just like her. They're dedicated, loyal fans, win or lose, and eat, drink, and sleep Astros baseball, and they're fun to get to know and talk with.
Yeah, you guys get to hang with them. Little tapper goes foul. That is a great thing about baseball, isn't it? The number of games, and you do encounter people over and over again and get into some little bit deeper relationships because of that. And there's a lot to talk about with baseball.
It really is. And these games mean something different for everybody for different reasons.
Fouled away, and Marianne going way back to the Colt 45 days.
Wow. People talk about the slower pace, but just lends itself to developing relationships, coming to a ball game with your son or daughter.
Boy, doesn't it though? There's just so much to discuss. See, Bart's not going to leave. They're still talking ball.
I don't blame him.
2-2. He's probably getting a history lesson from Colt 45's days.
Yeah.
From Marianne.
But Marianne's favorite player was Rusty Staub.
Or Jimmy Wynn, maybe.
Yeah.
Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
There were just a lot of just really well-developed players through the system. Jimmy Wynn came from Cincinnati, but back in the early days, the scouting was very strong. And that's the direction these days, too. There's a fly ball into right center field, and Bogusevic comes in. 2 outs. And Jonathan Singleton will be playing in the Futures game tonight. That starts at either 4 or 5 o'clock our time. Sparky, do you know which?
Yeah, 4 o'clock our time. And, I mean, look at the bird out there just watching the game. The outfielders crisscross. It's like some of the deer out there by the golf courses. Not even phased. I'd be drunk. He started hitting his head on the wall there a couple times.
Flying around erratically. 2 outs, and it's Corey Hart.
You talk about the Futures game. Jonathan Singleton's in that game. It's at 4 o'clock today. But there's one guy in particular, Billy Hamilton with the Reds, that I'm looking forward to seeing. He's got 104 stolen bases to this point in the year in 82 games. On pace to have 170. The record is 145 by Vince Coleman. He's on pace to shatter that, but they say he's something. Switch hitting, shortstop. Ken Griffey Sr. is his coach at Bakersfield.
Interesting. 2 balls and a strike. Apparently they're trying to smooth out the fielding problems for Billy Hamilton, but he could be arriving by next year, we'll say, if the Reds need him. But just think of that threat off the bench if all you needed was a pinch runner in September. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the Reds might well tap into that reserve of Billy Hamilton's base stealing ability come September. Ground ball, and there's Altuve positioned over there on shortstop side.
Yeah.
And so the shift worked out perfectly to get Hart and give Lyles his first 1-2-3 inning with a 3-1 Houston lead.
J.R. Richard became the first Astro pitcher to start the All-Star game. He struck out 3 in 2 innings. National League won it 4-2. Well, of course, that was also the year that his career essentially ended with a stroke later on. It was a tragic ending for a guy who was one of the best in his sport.
Sure was. There's Jed Lowrie with strike 1. Lowrie struck out in the first inning when the Astros scored 3. They had 4 hits and 2 walks in that inning. They scored on a bases loaded walk to Chris Snyder. And since then, Greinke has gotten himself back together. Foul ball there takes the count to 0 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, that could have been the best season ever by an Astros pitcher, but JR was stricken by that stroke, and that All-Star game, I think, was just about his last appearance of the year, Greg. You might have further information on that. He didn't do much after the All-Star break, if anything at all.
Well, he was 10-4, and that was about the point.
He tried throwing, of course, when the team was on the road and had to be carried off on a stretcher. But it was good to see him inducted into the Walk of Fame not too many weeks ago. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think it was that All-Star game that he really came out to national prominence. I mean, everybody obviously in the league who had to face him knew, and the people who lived here in Houston. But growing up in Oklahoma, that was when I knew when a guy could throw a 97-mile-an-hour slider that he was a lot different from anybody else.
Yes, sir. Strikeout number 3 here for Greinke.
Back up slider, outside corner. Easy to give up on that pitch. May or may not be a strike, but Holbrook's had enough of Greinke.
Yeah, you know, Lowrie, I think, is still establishing his reputation with umpires.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gotten a lot of beneficial calls this year, Sparky.
That's a good point, because he, unlike a lot of the guys on the Astros team, is one of the more patient hitters. He waits for a pitch that he can drive, and typically doesn't go out of sight of the strike zone very often. And when it's off the plate, especially east or west, he usually has a very discerning eye.
1-1 to CJ, who singled up the middle in the first inning. And I think if Jed just maintains his strike zone discipline, that'll turn for him. And he'll start to get those calls after he's been around a little bit longer. It's tough, though, when you're in his shoes and taking strike 3 like that.
Yeah, it causes you to be a little bit more impatient, just because you can get frustrated by umpires, and especially if you go downstairs and see that you were right. If you look at a replay, it becomes doubly tough.
It does. 2-2. First base umpire made the call on that one, Mike Estabrook. That was the hot spot yesterday with Sam Holbrook there. And that's a strikeout, number 4. So obviously Sam Holbrook knew when he had the play today and Greinke was going to start this game again that he would be watched very carefully.
Nice tight slider after seeing a breaking ball, 77-mile-an-hour curveball earlier in that bat. Greinke comes back with a hard slider, and when you can throw 2 breaking pitches at different speeds for strikes, especially behind in the count, it's almost game over.
Bogusevic worked a walk his first time up. There may be some people who would say, well, the home plate umpire, after tossing Greinke out of the game yesterday, now might bend over backwards, not to show that he had anything against Greinke or any repercussions at all. So maybe he could be accused of bending too far back the other direction.
You know what? I think when all is said and done, both guys probably realized they overreacted on the play and had a couple of regrets in that regard. But just like maybe a guy who coached his son in Little League might be a little bit harder on that guy than anybody else, that Holbrook might be bending over backwards to try to help Greinke out, knowing that he cost him a big start yesterday and a loss.
Certainly the back-to-back walks in the first inning by Greinke really couldn't be questioned. He just was missing his spots. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's at 64 pitches for the game now.
Get a feeling he's starting to get in a groove right now. He's throwing all of his pitches. Looks more comfortable.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Perhaps it takes a little bit longer to get loose after pitching the day before, although it was very briefly. Snyder on deck, and Greinke gets a strikeout, strikes out the side here in the 3rd inning. He is indeed coming around in a top form. The Astros lead it 3-1.
Got going in the first inning. Schaefer led off with a single, then Altuve with a double in the corner. Aggressive base running got Schaefer in with the first run of the game. Martinez single drove in Altuve. That made it 2-0. The Astros added a 3rd run on a bases loaded walk. The only run for the Brewers so far, a solo homer by Weeks, just sneaking in the right field corner. Since then, both pitchers settling in. It's 3-1. The Astros have the lead as we go to the 4th. And here again is Bill Brown and Steve Sparks.
Thank you, Greg. We were checking on J.R. Richards' 1980 season. He did start one game after the All-Star break when he was the starter in the All-Star game. He left after 3 1/3 innings, striking out 4, and that was it for him that season. Ricky Weeks leading it off here in the 4th inning, homered in the 2nd, and that is the Brewers' run. Each club has left 4 men on base. Brewers left the bases loaded in that 2nd. Weeks, who went to Southern University, not too far from where he matriculated in college. And there's ball 1, and was a first-round pick, and has proven to be a very solid player in Brewers history, but really struggling this year. He was the 2nd player drafted in the 03 draft. That goes toward the right fielder, Bogusevic.
And I think Weeks was an all-star last year.
You're right. AT&T has trivia for us from Minute Maid today. Who won the home run derby at the 2004 All-Star game at Minute Maid Park? Well, that was a show. Boy, that was, for some, better than the actual All-Star game. That was quite a bit of drama with Lance Berkman.
I heard a few stories down there that guys were going behind the dugout, lifting weights in between their turns to hit.
Oh.
Taking soft toss, getting a good sweat. I mean, it meant a lot to guys, especially here with the porch in left field, and how dramatic it is. Hitting the ball on the train tracks. Tejada.
Yes. And Berkman was hitting right-handed and just pumping the ball up over those train tracks time after time, as you recall. Well, that was...
Sammy Sosa was in that, right?
Sosa, I think, yeah. Every bit of high drama, as good as the game itself.
Look at Altuve's jersey getting shown off early.
Already on sale.
I don't think that's Altuve, though.
Jersey looks good on him, though.
It does.
Altuve was honored on the field before the game, along with Gene Coleman, who will be the first ever strength and conditioning coach to go to the All-Star game, and he'll be working with both teams. And Joe Patini in the middle there, the bench coach for the Astros. He was given his jersey, and boy, that's a nice looking jersey. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, he put the one on the other night. It didn't seem to fit, but this one looked smaller, Steve.
Well, I mean, it's going to be exciting being in Kansas City. Number one, it's a beautiful ballpark, and the color scheme is beautiful for a night like that. And their scoreboard is probably second to none in the league, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it's spectacular.
And I know you have an affinity for that area of the country, as do I. And it was the first baseball game I ever saw was in Kansas City, not at Royal Stadium, but Municipal Stadium.
Oh, well, we both could share in that then. That's great.
But I saw a lot of games at Royal Stadium, and getting to play there was special. But last time they had an All-Star game, check out this foul ball first. That'll be a camera guy.
Close.
Better wear a helmet.
Yeah. That's too close.
The Royal Stadium was only open 4 months the last time they had an All-Star game there in '73.
Lowry catches a line drive on Maldonado, 2 outs. Well, they've reworked it, and it's a fine ballpark. All right, AT&T trivia about that home run contest here. 2004 All-Star game, Miguel Tejada beat Lance Berkman.
Tejada, I think, got the MVP of the game, too, didn't he?
That sounds right.
Clean sweep. Got a yellow Corvette in the deal.
Didn't know that.
Remember that? Driven out there on the field.
Okay. Cesar Torres got an infield hit to third. This one a little roller right in front of the dish for Chris Snyder, who makes it a 1-2-3 fourth, and Jordan Lyles is set down 7 straight. The Astros lead it 3-1.
By the Progressive Insurance Group. Call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. By the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. And by Mattress Firm. Save money, sleep happy. That may be what Greinke can do, because he's done, Brownie.
Yeah, he is finished after 3 innings and giving way to Marco Estrada. Here's the play by Snyder.
Check out Snyder. The way, number one, he's going to have plenty of time to get his tourist, but all the spin on that ball because of that corkscrew, he's going to make sure he pushes that ball down into the ground so he keeps his shoulders low. Last thing you want to do is try to pick it up cleanly, because usually you pull away from that ball and end up getting a guy on first base for no reason. They teach them right at the University of Houston.
Oh. Well, now he'll be facing the reliever, Marco Estrada. Originally, he was listed as the starter for the day. In 13 games, 8 as a starter. He's 0-3 with 1 hold, a 4.31 ERA in 48 innings for Estrada. He was out with the right thigh strain for a while.
Yeah, he missed a month. He's got good stuff. The last 12 innings pitched, he's got 18 strikeouts in that time span. He's got a fastball, 4-seamer, 88-91, a curveball, and a changeup. Doesn't throw his changeup a whole lot, but he has plenty of depth on that pitch. Both his curveball and changeup are put away pitches.
Snyder drew a bases loaded walk in the first inning. Greinke threw 66 pitches, starting on consecutive days. And there is ball 1. Zach in 3 innings allowed the Astros 5 hits, 3 runs, walking 2, fanning 5. He struck out the side in the 3rd inning. Ground ball to 3rd. Thomas Ramirez, 1 out for Estrada. Jordan Lyles struck out looking in the first inning as the Astros sent 9 to the plate and scored 3, but then Greinke settled down after that.
See a 6-foot right-handed pitcher throwing the ball downhill. That's pretty special. A lot of times a shorter guy in stature has a hard time with driving it down. Not this guy. He hides it well, throws it downhill, tough to square up.
Jordan takes strike 1. He looked at strike 3 with the bases loaded in the first. Both teams have left the bases loaded in an inning today. Estrada working with 4 days rest since his last start. There's strike 2, and that was a crazy one against Miami in Milwaukee. Milwaukee won at 13-12. He did his job. 6 innings of work, 4 hits, 2 runs allowed. And that's a strikeout, number 6 of the game. Number 1, of course, for Estrada. Well, that Milwaukee bullpen has been troublesome at times this year, Sparky.
Yeah, when Astros saw the Brewers early on in the season, they were far from struggling, especially John Axford, who had a huge streak of games in a row of not blowing a save, but since then has blown 3 or 4. And between he and Francisco Rodriguez, among other guys, they just can't seem to put things together, and it's really not enabled their starting staff to get on a good roll because of it.
Schaefer takes the breaking pitch. There's strike 1 as he shows bunt. He is 1 for 2. Could be 2 for 2, but Hart made a nice play on him in the second. Ramirez in close.
That's a good changeup right there. Looks exactly like his fastball. Good arm speed. That's what sells that pitch.
He took over when Chris Narveson went down. Fastball missing. That takes the count to 2-1. Estrada filled in last year when Zach Greinke was out with a cracked rib, and Narveson also spent time on the DL. Jumping back from it, Schaefer looks at strike 2. And last year, Estrada had 7 starts. He appeared in 43 games overall. Good strikeout numbers, 88 punch-outs in 92 innings as he went 4-8 with a 4.08 ERA. And the fastball gets him a punch-out. He has a very quick 4th inning with 2 strikeouts along the way. Keep the score 3-1 Houston.
what do you drive? Normally in the Mazda game break, we take a look ahead to the next game and talk about the pitcher. But since the next game is the All-Star game, we're going to talk about the Astros representative in that game, who, of course, is Jose Altuve. And he's the first Astros second baseman to make it to the All-Star game since Jeff Kent did it a few years back. The Astros have had a pretty good run of second basemen over the years. Joe Morgan, Billy Doran, some guy named Biggio, and Kent. So Altuve is the next in that list. Came into this game today hitting .304. He's got 27 RBI, 29 extra base hits, 15 steals. He's done a little bit of everything so far this year, so he is off to the All-Star game. That's your Mazda game break. Let's go back to Bill and Steve. And guys, it's nice to see that they already have the Altuve All-Star jersey on sale here at Minute Maid Park. That's fun.
Yes, it is. And we already saw that one a few minutes ago. Jordan Lyles working to Marco Estrada. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Zach Greinke doubled in his only at-bat of the day. Estrada puts one in the air, and Altuve's underneath this. That's 8 straight retired by Lyles. Greg?
The Astros are excited to welcome contemporary Christian recording artist Mercy Me for the second Faith and Family Night of the season. Now mark this down on your calendar. That'll be Saturday, July 28th. Concert takes place following the 6:05 game against the Pirates. Concert is included with your game ticket. Tickets for Faith and Family Night featuring Mercy Me available at astros.com/mercy. The first one was very, very successful. This one should be the same. Again, Saturday, July 28th.
Aoki's the batter. He singled to open the game. Then he walked his second time up. There is strike one. He is categorized as a rookie, even though he played many games in Japan. And he leads rookies in several departments in the National League so far.
Well, that Faith and Family Night really had a good turnout there last time. I think it looked like about 10 or 12,000 people stayed for that concert afterwards.
They did, and it was a great concert, and Justin Maxwell gave his testimony. Nice job. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This slider on the inside corner. That is tight. He's really sharpening things as the game progresses.
Takes a spill on that one at his legs and got out of the way of it, or he would be headed for first right now.
I don't know if I could have gotten away from that pitch. He left both feet at the same time. That ball barely skipped and missed both.
He is quick. Now 3-2. Of course, it's tough to process all that information when you're hitting. But then a few pitches later, you might be thinking, if you're walking back to the dugout, I should have just stood there.
Yeah. It's tough to do when it's coming at your ankle.
Yeah. Line shot goes foul. It can work out either way, and we'll have to see how this at bat goes for Aoki. Because on his 15-game hitting streak, he wants to swing the bat, Sparky.
I don't blame him. And it looks like he is in the strike zone. It's almost like you're watching Suzuki. He's in the strike zone for about 8 or 10 feet. It's tough to get anything by him. Fastball in, these rakes. Try to throw something off speed. He stays in there and flicks it out in the outfield. It's a tough out. Low strike zone.
Yeah. Really uses his legs, doesn't he? Getting down in that deep crouch.
It's one of the reasons I think Altuve has so much success is that he makes the pitcher come to them. You know, and sometimes you see shorter guys expand the zone, but why? You know, just make him throw it exactly where you want it.
He chops this one to first. Chris Johnson tossing to Lyles. Aoki just out. And they couldn't afford a bobble the way he runs. He just gets out of the box well. He's leaning on his swing here, Sparky, so that gives him a head start.
I have a feeling if he'd have called him safe, Jordan would have slammed the ball down in front of him.
That was close.
It was. You love to see that kind of hustle. Man, if I'm a manager, I'm loving every minute of that. Looks like a routine play, and it's a bang-bang play. You know the next time as an infielder, you're going to have to hurry, and you may bobble it.
Nigel Morgan's 0 for 2, a strikeout and a bouncer. He's been showing bunt each time up and taking a strike. 3 times now he's shown bunt, and the pitch has been a strike. So he's giving the pitcher that the way it's worked out, falling behind in the count. The other 2 times I believe he was ahead in the count when he faked bunt, but still giving the pitcher a strike when you do that.
When a guy's scuffling, sometimes they're just going to take it upon themselves to take more pitches.
Chris Johnson makes it a quick 5th. And that now is 10 in a row set down by Lyles, with the Astros leading 3-1.
You see some hometown kids. You can see a show about the hometown kids, Chevy hometown kids, every Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Houston. And I want to urge you, see Emily Rippert there, the host, I want to urge you to check hometownkids.tv, because you can suggest a hometown kid to be part of the show. It's all about the experience and not the score, and it's Chevy Hometown Kids right here on Fox Sports Houston, guys.
Thank you, Greg. It is 3-1. The Astros lead at Jose Altuve. Their all-star hits a ball to Ricky Weeks' backhand side. Here's the throw on to first. 1 pitch, 1 out for Estrada. He has come down and come in and set down 4 in a row now in this game, and Altuve's now 1 for 3. So Estrada's giving his club a lift. Sparky.
I think Altuve is mad at himself for not seeing a couple of pitches, trying to jumpstart Estrada. Throwing a lot of strikes, so I don't blame him for going after the first good one. And maybe Altuve's just mad that he didn't square it up more. Check out him hiding his eyes, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of guys do that to really sharp focus on the glove so they don't see anything else. But another reason is sometimes hitters can pick up where his chin is angled to tell if he's going inside or outside. Kenny Rogers used to be a guy who used to really put his chin on that outside corner, and guys used to lean out there and try to rake him.
Okay. No balls, 2 strikes. Estrada, born in Sonora, Mexico. He went to Long Beach State. 6th round pick of Washington in 05. He was a waiver claim by Milwaukee early in the 2010 year. Moore takes a look at that one. It's 1-2 to Scott. Estrada had 2 quality starts coming into this game today after he returned from that leg injury. 29 years old, maybe a late bloomer. He didn't have a major league win before last year. He had pitched for Washington. It's 2-2 now.
Long Beach State has had a great program for the last 20 years or so. Put out a lot of big leaguers. Jason Giambi, Evan Longoria, Tulowitzki, Harold Reynolds, Jared Weaver. You knew who else went there?
No.
Karen and Richard Carpenter.
Really?
The Carpenter's fame.
Struck him out. Wow, this guy looks sharp. That's number 3.
The most undervalued things about pitching is hiding the ball. creating a little bit of deception. And Estrada puts that ball right behind his head. You don't see it until it's about 50 feet to home plate. It's hard to pick up spin. It's hard to pick up location because you see it a lot later. Some guys throw 100 miles an hour, but you see it from center field.
Strike to J.D. Martinez. He singled in a run in the first inning. He's 1 for 2. So he hides his face and his eyes.
Yeah.
And then he hides the ball.
He's not up front about pitching.
No balls, 2 strikes.
You can tell that his fastball is pretty straight, so you have to come up with something to create a little bit of diversion. Seems like he's come up with something, and like you said, you see a lot of late bloomers, and maybe that straight fastball is what held him back, but right now he keeps it behind his body for a long time.
Ricky Weeks over Corey Hart. Estrada clips along. He's had 2 perfect innings, and after 5, it's 3-1 Houston. Moore on a hot liner. Hit by Ryan Braun in the first inning.
Hooking line drive. Scott Moore stabs it. Going to need to play that same position because we have Ryan Braun up again first in this inning.
Well, as Moore returns the ball to Jordan Lyles. Lyles has not given up balls hit that hard since the second inning. Really, he's retired 10 in a row now.
And he was teetering on the fence in the second inning and came up with one big pitch, and sometimes that's all it takes because he's retired 10 in a row since. They left bases loaded in the second inning, and that's the difference in the ball game. 3-1 game, 1 base hit in the second inning. It could have been a tie score, and who knows what would have happened.
You are so right about that. Braun then struck out in the third as Lyles started to gather what was going on for him. There's a line shot into left field. That's heading for the bullpen wall. Braun will be cruising in with a double. His 14th of the year. He is 3rd in the league in total bases. Very, very strong year for Ryan Braun.
Really is, and a lot of people thought without fielder's protection he would change and start trying to chase pitches because he wasn't well protected, but he's always had good discipline at the plate and just a short, compact swing, and just a really good professional hitter.
Jordan Lyles had set down 10 in a row. Now it's Aramis Ramirez. He grounded back to Lyles, and he hit a fly ball to right. Goes for the curveball and taps it foul. There's strike 1. Cubs shut out the Mets 7-0 in New York. Ryan Dempster returning from the disabled list to continue his streak of shutout innings. He had 3 consecutive shutout starts and added on number 4 today, beating Jonathan Neese, who had been hot for the Mets.
That should raise Dempster's trade value as well.
That's a good point, Sparky. Pretty good chance he's going to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, and I think his contract is much more favorable than Matt Garza's anyway. And Garza might be a difference maker in the playoffs, but to get to the playoffs, I think Dempster would be my man.
On through into center field. Braun will come home to make it 3-2 on the RBI single by Ramirez. And Milwaukee's coming out with some fight here in the 6th inning. Corey Hart to follow.
Good job by Ramirez staying up the middle. We talk about RBI situations all the time, and to stay mechanically sound, you stay up the middle, you typically keep your shoulder in and get the barrel to the baseball, and that's what Ramirez does. And see him do that as a Chicago Cub as well as the Brewers. Always been an Astro killer.
Now back-to-back hits have the Brewers with 6 for the game. They lead the Astros by 1 in the hit department. Now there's a shot on a line to Bogusevic, and Hart is retired. That's out number 1. But the way the Brewers are swinging the bats here in the 6th inning, Brad Mills will be watching very carefully on Lyles.
You check out the long arms by Corey Hart, and we saw it from last AB. When he extends those, he's tough. We've also seen Jordan Lyles have a propensity out of the stretch to have his pitches flatten out and guys starting to drive the baseball. We saw him with 1 out and bases loaded in the 2nd inning go straight to the windup because he definitely feels more comfortable.
Fernando Rodriguez is getting loose. Ricky Weeks homered, and he also flied to right. So he's hit the ball to right field both times. There's strike 1 to Weeks. Brad Mills very excited about the prospect of getting Wilton Lopez back in his bullpen after the All-Star break. Lopez has returned from Oklahoma City, and he was to throw a bullpen today. Altuve with the flip. Lowry, good lead toss, and that turns into a 4-6-3 double play. Exactly what Lyles can use right here because the Brewers have tightened up this ball game, and it's 3-2 Houston in the 6th. Brings you the starting pitchers for Friday in San Francisco. First game back after the All-Star break. Matchup of lefties. Wandy 7-6. Madison Bumgarner 10-5 from AT&T Park. 8:30 for Astros Live on FS Houston Friday night. Our next telecast. 3-2 ball game now as Marco Estrada has quieted the Astros, and he faces Jed Lowry. He's retired 6 in a row since coming in, and Greinke struck out the side in the 3rd, his last inning. So that's 10 straight Astros retired by the Brewer pitching staff in this one. And he slipped a little bit with his footing on that heater way outside. It's a 2-ball, no strike count.
Look at the first pitch right here. Good changeup, good action on that pitch. I think it froze Sam Holbrook right there.
Looked like it. Now Lowry takes, and it's 3-0. And this is what we were talking about with Lowry.
Yeah, exactly. Starting to get rewarded, and when you can get that first base runner on board, that increases your chance to score by a lot. That's what he's looking to do right here.
Strike makes it 3-1. Astros got 3 in the first off Zach Greinke, starting on consecutive days. Second major league pitcher to do that this year. C.J. Wilson did it for the Angels. Now it's ball 4, and Lowry's aboard to end that string of 10 straight Astros retired. That's the third walk in the game for the Brewer pitchers.
C.J. Wilson did that against the Rangers, right?
Yes.
His former team.
Back on May 11th and May 12th for the Angels, there was a rain delay. On May 11th, he went 1/3 of an inning, gave up 3 hits, 4 runs. Then the rain delay came, and he lost. And then he came back and started the next day against his former club as well. Pitched well, but got a no decision. 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. Chris Johnson singled the first time up.
Pretty anticipated start pitching against those guys. Some of the guys had hard feelings for the Rangers when he left. Had a couple parting shots.
They really did.
I think one of the things he tweeted something about Mike Napoli and put his phone number out there, and thought it was a funny joke, and not many people found it funny.
I wouldn't think so. But to be fair about it, he has had a very good year.
He sure has.
Bogusevic's on deck in a 3-2 game. And he swung. Kind of did the wraparound action, but it's no balls and 2 strikes. CJ tried to move that bat. Let's take a look at it.
Good tight breaking ball by Estrada. We've talked about the movement on his changeup and his curveball. Both pitches plus to go along with a average fastball, but it works out well for him.
Yeah, it's interesting how he mixes that in. Which is going to lead to a question for you. Okay, the secondary stuff above average, but the fastball, what, a little below or maybe average, would you say?
Yeah.
So now, how careful do you want to be with throwing that fastball? Do you have to set it up with your secondary stuff because those pitches are above average?
Well, when you're talking about velocity and movement on his fastball, he doesn't have much of either. But he locates it well, so that's a good thing. And location is probably more important than movement and velocity. But the movement on his other 2 pitches is above average. So I think if he can just locate his fastball, throw it to a couple different quadrants and change guys' eye level from time to time. I mean, obviously, he struck out 172 guys in 172 innings in his career. He keeps guys off balance.
Boy, sure does. 1-2. The Astros have not had a hit since the second inning. A single by Scott Moore. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Chris Johnson. Detroit leads over Kansas City at 7-1 after 8 in Detroit. Johnny Peralta hit his 5th home run for the Tigers. Prince Fielder number 15 and Delman Young number 10. Salvador Perez number 4 for the Royals. The shot on the ground is Torres, gets it to second. Weeks relays to first. Double play.
Tailor-made right there. He's Turris, one of the slicker fielding shortstops. Has been for a good decade. Nobody really has a better throwing arm than Ricky Weeks from the second base position. He can unload it quickly, but he can make up for being off balance if he needs to as well.
Bogusevic has walked and struck out. It was interesting to watch on that replay his Torres footwork. He didn't move his feet. He just shifted his weight on that right leg there, Sparky, for the throw.
Just real comfortable. You know, these guys, that's by design. I mean, they work on doing things like that. I remember watching Omar Vizquel take tons of ground balls in throw the feeds to second base and not even look at the bag. It's almost like court awareness for a point guard out on a basketball court, just knowing where everything is and knowing how your body sets up in relation.
That's for sure. Just controlling that body and using it in different ways.
And like you said, he had his weight on his right foot. All he had to do was transfer his weight, and it's probably quicker.
Check swing roller goes foul. Yeah, some guys who weren't as experienced or weren't as good as tourists might be taking those choppy little steps, trying to work the ball and trying to do more than they really need to do. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the good middle infielders especially have a good wide base with their legs.
Weeks to his right. On over to Hart. And after 6, the Brewers pitching has really been tough. And it's 3-2 Astros.
Hyundai Fuel Efficiency Drive Sales Event by AT&T Rethink Possible, and by Coshada Casino Resort, the largest, most exciting casino resort in Louisiana. Food is pretty exciting here at Minute Maid Park. The Astros are enticing their fans with a 3-2 lead. We go to the top of the 7th. Here again is Bill Brown with Steve Sparks.
It's a meaty ball game, Greg. A lot to savor about this game. And it is 3-2, as you indicated, after 6. So now which way is this game going to turn? Because the Brewers have gotten that outstanding relief work from Estrada. 3 innings of hitless baseball. And there is strike 1 as they come up here in the 7th inning with Maldonado batting. He's 0 for 2. So Jordan Lyles has had to be sturdy. He gave up a run in the 6th inning. Braun doubled to left center, and Ramirez had the RBI single, but then Lyles got the line drive to right, and then the double play ball.
All balls were hit pretty hard. Got action in the Astros bullpen because of it. Probably go hitter to hitter. See if we can get Jordan through this inning, and if so, he comes up second next inning. It might be a good situation just to push this a little bit, because this will go a long way to help his confidence.
Bouncer to Lyles. He gets Maldonado. That's out number 1. That's a good point, Steve, to finish it out before the break with a nice strong start at home. After last time giving up 9 hits and 7 runs in 4 innings at Pittsburgh, that could really help Jordan for the second half.
Yeah, his 2 outings before that were really good, and he had a post-game interview against the Royals saying that hopefully that was a game that could help him turn the corner. He's had, to take a step forward and then 1 step back over and over, and to get a couple in a row, he thought he may had something going. And the game in Pittsburgh was especially tough mentally on Jordan, but this would be a good one before the All-Star break.
is Torres with an 0-1 count. Takes that pitch. Typically, as Jordan gets deeper into the game, he tends to elevate his pitches. Jose Veras is working in the bullpen for Milwaukee. Travis Ishikawa is on deck. 2 balls and a strike. This has been one of his better games, the 3rd time through the order this year.
I don't think I've ever seen a 21-year-old have as much poise as Jordan Lyles. To have a guy go out there at that age and not overthrow. You know, he stays within himself all the time. He's got a real clean delivery. Never shows up the umpires.
3-2 to his Torres. In this ballpark, he's had 4 starts. He's 2-2 with a 3.91 ERA. Got one at the top of the zone on the corner there. There's a liner caught by Lowry, and he's had a couple of those caught, and that doesn't hurt a pitcher one bit either.
Not at all. You have to challenge the 8-hole hitter at that situation. They're going to take Estrada out of the game now and go with a pinch hitter.
Ishikawa. Well, they got 3 innings out of Estrada with no hit baseball. He walked 1 and fanned 3. He had been warming up in the 1st inning, so it's probably logical to think that might be pressing the points, Sparky.
Especially when you're down in the baseball game. You never know. You get in here and have somebody whack one out of the ballpark. Doug Brocail going out with the scouting report to Jordan. Make sure he knows and remembers how they talked about pitching against Ishikawa in the event that he may pinch hit.
92 pitches for Jordan. And it is Ishikawa with the bullpen busy with Veras. Ishikawa looks at that one, and it's ball 1 to him. The former Giant hitting .313 as a starting lineup type player with 4 homers and 13 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, a little different. He fouls that one back. Pinch hitting, he is 3 for 18. He's driven in 4.
Big, strong guy. We've seen him hit a couple of home runs in his career against the Astros, but pull hitter. This is a guy to work away.
Yeah, he fouls that one. 16,966 the attendance today. And the Astros a much better home team. They're 24-20 in this ballpark. They're 9-32 on the road. When they play their next game at San Francisco, they'll be trying to snap a 10-game road losing streak. But if they can win 2 out of 3 this series, and they would do that if they get this win today, they can enjoy the break just a little bit more for Brad Mills. It's been a tough run.
Be good for him to get away for a little bit. He's going to California for the All-Star break and have easy travel for Friday's, well, Thursday's practice in San Francisco. Isn't that what you said?
Yes, sir. There is a practice Thursday.
I would imagine a lot of guys on the All-Star break will work toward that direction if they aren't going home.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe sounds good, doesn't it? 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ever been there, Sparky?
I have. I was in the California League in Stockton, California, and that's where my wife and I went for the All-Star break one year.
I hear it's gorgeous.
It's the only time I've been there. I'd love to go back.
Ground ball. Chris Johnson will now take it. And that is a fine 7 innings for Jordan Lyles. He should be leaving probably for a pinch hitter. And the bottom of the 7th inning, he's due up second, but that's just a terrific job by Lyles. In line for win number 3 of the year. And we'll keep it right here as the military who came to enjoy this ball game today as part of the Home Sweet Home program come out on the field, and we'll be singing God Bless America.
To welcome to this afternoon's game service members who have recently returned home from overseas deployment. Welcome home, soldiers. And now, to honor them and all of the brave servicemen and women who protect our freedom around the world every day, please join this young man who will be celebrating his 94th birthday in September, World War II veteran Joe Prince, for the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
You know, you can join the Astros for University of Houston night at Minute Maid Park Wednesday, July 25th when the Astros host the Reds. And this nifty cap, it's a U of H special, is available to the first 1,000 redeeming their cap voucher. The ticket package is available on Astros.com/Cougs. UH head football coach Tony Levine will toss the ceremonial first pitch as well. So buy your tickets at Astros.com/Cougs. And then be among the first 1,000 to redeem your voucher for that cap.
Trey Wilkinson will be here, so will Kim. Meanwhile, the little one up for the 7th inning stretch. Fans have watched a 3-2 ball game to this point. Very good game. 16,966 watching to see what develops now in the late innings with Jose Veras coming in. He's pitcher number 3 for Ron Renicky. Veras, a big right-hander with 3 wins, 3 losses, a 4.75 ERA. Will be taking over, and Brian Bixler is in the on-deck circle with a pitcher spot due up second. Those are the numbers on Veras with 25 walks in 36 innings. And Chris Snyder drew a walk himself with the bases loaded in the first, then he grounded out in the fourth.
Might have remembered Veras with Pittsburgh last year. Had a ton of strikeouts, always does. He's pitched for a few teams now, but good hard fastball with a lot of movement.
He was traded for Casey McGee over the winter. Jose 31 from the Dominican Republic. It's 0-2. Brewers have out hit the Astros 6-5. No errors in the game today. Each club has stranded 4. Veras pitched yesterday, 1 inning. He gave up an unearned run in the game. Missing there. 1-2 to Snyder.
Typically, you want to see a pitcher keep his head still to have good command. Check out his head moving.
Yeah.
Throwing it all over the place. Got a lot of movement. He's able to repeat it, though. That's what you need.
And the breaking pitch gets him a strikeout. That's number 9 for Milwaukee pitching.
Get a guy throwing breaking pitch almost 20 miles per hour slower than his heater. You're going to see a lot of swing and misses.
That's 1 out for Veras. Now the pinch hitter for Jordan Lyles is Brian Bixler. An outstanding day for Lyles. 250, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. Lyles in 7 innings, allowing 6 hits, 2 runs. And there's a breaking pitch. Ball 1 to Bixler, who served the Astros well.
What a great game by Jordan Lyles today, Bill. 2 earned runs in 7 innings. It's a pretty good offense.
Definitely one of his best. They lost that 2-1 game you talked about here to Kansas City. Gave up 3 hits and 2 runs in 7 innings in that one. But
yeah,
this is another strong one, too. Very close to those numbers he had that day. And this gives him 4 consecutive quality starts here at home. Better than quality. He's not allowed more than 2 runs in any of those 4 at home.
It's funny how it could have turned in the 2nd inning real easily.
Now Morgan backs in center field, and Bixler is out number 2. Yeah, it could have. And then he got Morgan with the bases loaded, didn't he?
Credit to him. 2-1 slider. You know Morgan was looking dead red on that pitch, especially with Ryan Braun on deck.
Milwaukee and Houston deciding game of this 3-game series. It's 3-2 Astros. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th inning. Bill Brown, Steve Sparks filling in for Jim DeShays. Greg Lucas, Bart Ennis, Art Howe. Post-game show should be a good one. Stay tuned afterwards. Plenty to talk about from this one. Zach Greinke starting for a 2nd straight day. Jordan Schaefer led off the Astros first against Greinke with a single, and he came around to score in that 3-run first. But the Astros have not scored since the first, and they've had 1 hit. They've had 1 hit and 1 walk, and the walk went to Lowry. He was erased on a double play ball. So the Astros have not left a man on base since the 2nd inning.
Seems like Jordan just almost has a fresh start since he had that talk with Brad Mills the other night. You see that sense of a little bit of relief that he just got a few things off of his chest. He got pulled out of the game in Pittsburgh the other day, and just things feel a little bit more clean. What a job by Jordan Lyles today, making big pitches when they counted, but he just got a great role in the middle part of this ball game.
2 balls and a strike. 21 years old, so much promise. Yeah, he's polished that curveball this year.
Yeah, getting a lot more ground ball outs this year. 50% of his outs are ground balls. Last year they were 40%.
Schaefer moves back, and it's 3-1. Starting with that bases loaded confrontation in the 2nd inning when Jordan got Niger Morgan on a ground out. He retired 10 in a row and was just sailing along against the club, 5th in the league in runs scored.
For a young guy to go to an all-star break, that goes a long way. We say that a lot on getaway days because guys typically have a long time to think about the start that they just made, or the guys on the offense feel good about themselves when they get to travel, and the trips are usually more lighthearted when the team wins. So it goes a long way. But 4 days in a row where you don't have to sit on thinking you haven't pitched well in your last couple games, that's hard for a guy.
Altuve's on deck. Towering pop is Torres underneath. 3-2 ball game, moving to the 8th.
part of Tuesday's All-Star Game. The biggest event of the summer is the great stars of baseball battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with that All-Star Game, Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Central on the Fox Television Network.
He's young. He doesn't mind. Wesley Wright is 0-2. His ERA 3.80. He comes in with the 3-2 lead. And it's lefty hitting Aoki, lefty hitting Morgan, righty hitting Braun. 2 up in the 8th inning, Sparky.
Well, just Brad Mills' go-to guy right here. He's been unbelievable against left-handers in the last 2 seasons. When you get a couple guys up in the span of 3 hitters, this is the guy you want to call on. Wesley Wright's been here a few years now. Went through a couple transformations, starting pitcher, side armor. Now he's just back to himself, getting guys out.
Aoki opened the game with a single to right. Then he walked. Then he grounded out to first. Chris Johnson not too far from the line as he takes strike 1. And Scott Moore's in, as you can see, at third base.
Got to take that away. Just watch the guy's hands. That's what Scott Moore's doing.
Aoki looks at that one. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Well, Brad Mills matching up lefty on lefty here with these first 2 hitters in the inning, and then he has a right-hander getting loose, so we'll see about Braun. Strike there makes it 0-2.
You know, you talked about Wilton Lopez earlier coming off the disabled list possibly after the All-Star break, but he got a chance to see Fernando Rodriguez work in some tough situation. Brad Mills talking before the game about finding out a lot about Fernando and his ability to strand base runners.
2-2. Well, he's out there now along with Brandon Lyon. So Brad has options here, but the concentration, the focus for Wesley Wright is on getting this leadoff man. Last night he walked the leadoff man, but then he got the next 2. Aoki takes, and he's worked the count full now. Aoki's hitting .306 against lefty pitching.
I can believe it. He does a good job keeping his front shoulder in. See a lot of guys lefty on lefty give with that front shoulder and get exposed outside. He closes his off.
He chops it, but foul. 43 appearances for Wesley Wright. Coming into this game tied for second in the majors, so he'll need a break.
Brad Mills using 6 relievers last night.
Yeah. Well, once he gets Wilton Lopez back, that'll really help for the late innings. That's a leadoff walk. Normally, Wilton would be in a game like this right now, wouldn't he, Sparky?
Yeah, just a ground ball machine, Wilton Lopez, and that's what you're looking for right here.
So Wesley Wright for the second straight outing walks the leadoff man, but last night then he got the next 2. Dave Clark positioning his left fielder, and J.D. Martinez is moving about 3 steps over toward the left field line for Nyjer Morgan, who's 0 for 3.
This situation scares you. Look at that hole on the right side with the lefty giving a little bit. The only pitch he can hit is pull an inside pitch. We've seen him do this. How many is that? 4 times in a row.
Yeah,
fake bunt.
That's right. This time he gets ball 1 call. Nyjer Morgan is hitting .250. He's only had 12 at bats against lefty pitching. Moore's in very tight at third. Bunted hard, and Wright will let Johnson toss to Altuve. For the sacrifice, getting Aoki over without number 1. Well played.
See Johnson hopping off the bag. It's almost like a secondary lead. Just do a couple shuffles, create a little distance with that move, and he's able to pounce on that ball, get a speedy Nyjer Morgan for the crucial first out. Got a runner in scoring position, but you have 1 out with a base open. Pitch Ryan Braun a little more carefully that way.
And it'll be a different pitcher working to Braun. Brad Mills coming out. Braun is 1 for 3. He doubled and scored in the 6th inning. Wesley Wright on his way out. We'll be right back.
You can take the Astros with you this season by subscribing to MLB.tv today to see every Astros out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Astros.com to order and get more details, because MLB.tv brings baseball everywhere.
Tight ball game, Greg. Brandon Lyon comes in. He's 0-2 with a 3.31 ERA. Runner at second, representing the potential tying run, and Ryan Braun, who's produced 60 runs batted in the box.
Brandon from St. George, Utah. A lot of movement on his pitches. Two-seam fastball, slider, cutter, curveball. A lot of depth on his curveball. Good strikeout pitcher when you need it.
Braun takes that curveball, and it's ball one. Braun is 4 for 14 against Lyon. Lyon threw 1 inning last night, allowing 2 hits and 1 run.
Started Braun off with a curveball. Braun stays on the slider real well. So you want to get a breaking pitch with depth. Another curve.
2-0. Ramos Ramirez on deck. Ryan Dempster, in his return from the disabled list for the Cubs, was backed by a 4-run Chicago first at New York. He went 5 shutout innings. He now has a scoreless inning streak of 27.
Wow.
Cubs won at 7-0 at New York. That comes into the strike zone. That's 2-1.
Went to the breaking ball with a little less break. Give Sam Holbrook a better look at that slider. 88 miles per hour. Right on the black. I mean, that's as close to the corner on Fox track as you can get.
Yeah, he painted that pitch.
Why not? You got a base open. This is, guys, as dangerous as it gets in the National League.
Off the plate, ball 3. Aoki's getting a pretty good lead off second. And Lyon was eyeing him.
If 1 out, it's a good situation, maybe to throw an inside move on Aoki. Good time for a base runner to try to get to third base with 1 out.
Altuve could dart over there. He's not too far from second base.
Yeah.
He's breaking for third. There's a swing and a line drive to left center field. That'll tie the game. Braun with an RBI single takes a big turn, and it's 3-3. Aoki was running on the pitch. He scored easily as Braun picked up his 61st run batted in to tie it 3-3.
Well, came with the 3-1 curveball, and like you said, Aoki moving didn't distract Ryan Braun. He stays on that pitch and rifles it toward J.D. Martinez. Aoki running on the pitch, scores easily. Now you got to make sure you keep Braun off second base.
He's 13 for 18 in steals. Ramirez, the batter, he's a double play threat. He's 1 for 3, an RBI single. There is strike one, so Zach Greinke is off the hook after giving up 3 runs in 3 innings. He could have been a loser 2 days in a row as a starting pitcher. Corey Hart on deck. Braun goes. And there's the throw from the knees. Snyder didn't have much of a chance. He had to reach down and to his right. So Braun gets his 14th steal.
Typically, you want your pitcher to be about a 1.3 seconds or 1.35 seconds. Brandon picks up his leg pretty high on that pitch to get as much as he could behind it. And meanwhile, Snyder has no chance to get Ryan Braun, who's in scoring position now, with a chance to put the Brewers on top.
1-1 to Ramirez, who drove in his 52nd run back in the 6th inning with that single. Altuve goes to the bag, time called. So the Brewers, who were 5th in steals coming into this game, get that one from Braun. And that could be a big one with 1 out. Ramirez 2 for 10 against Lyon. Double play situation was in order until he stole that base. Good breaking ball, makes it 1-2.
Really good slider. Ends up off the plate, but look how long it looks like a strike. Ramirez lunges after that pitch, can't even reach it.
Ramirez has grounded into a double play, so that was a good time for Braun to go.
I think he's looking for that same pitch again, so I might try to sneak a heater away right here. I think you could freeze him.
Now Braun steals third.
We talked about best time to try to steal third base is with 1 out, because you can score on a sac fly from that position. It's really good for a pitcher to show an inside move early in that situation, so those guys can't start timing it or running on first move.
Braun stole second, then third. That gives him 15 steals, and the infield comes in. 2-2 count with 1 out. That went in tight on him. Takes the count full to Ramirez.
Saw Snyder try to give the appearance that pitch was cutting in toward the inside corner. Snyder caught Brandon Lyon in Arizona. Lyon was the closer.
Got a strikeout, and he needed it. 2 outs. Well, after the steals of second and third, Braun had worked himself over there with 1 out.
Well, good tight action on his breaking ball. Look where it ends up. Number 6 on Fox track. He's right there in the bottom left corner, and Snyder pumped up for his buddy Brandon Lyon.
Corey Hart is 0 for 3. Hit the ball deep to right center field for an out in the 2nd inning. Lined out to right in the 6th. Infield shifted around. They strike 1 to Hart. Hart hit a ground ball to Altuve on this shift back in the 3rd inning, and he threw him out.
He's had a lot of good swings today. I think I'd try to jam him, especially with that shade on the infield.
It's 1-2. That might be coming next, but A guy who's 6'6" like Hart can lead a pitcher to think about jamming him because he can extend so far and hit the ball so well off the plate outside. Max Scherzer won his 8th for Detroit, 7-1 over Kansas City. He chased that one. 1-2.
So logically thinking, if you're a hitter and you see this big gap and shift, you got all this shift going on toward the left side and the big gap to right center field, you're thinking he's going to pitch you in. Chris Snyder's pretty smart, though. He starts teasing him with pitches away. See if he's setting him up to get him out in, though. Going back out.
Yep. And a swing and a miss. Works. Back-to-back strikeouts for Brandon Lyon. Keeps the game tied. The Brewers get a run on one hit. They leave a runner at third. It's 3-3 in the 8th. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite, showing you Friday night. Giovanni Gallardo, Scott Moore, it's a home run into that second deck in right field. Saturday night, Scott Moore hits another home run off the reliever Livan Hernandez. 2 homers in the first 2 games of this homestand for Scott Moore, and 3 in the last 7 games. No Astro home runs today. They had a 3-0 lead after 1. It's now tied at 3. Scott Moore will be up second in the bottom of the 8th inning against the setup man, Francisco Rodriguez. He's 1-4 with a 4.06 ERA.
K-Rod, as they call him, came onto the scene 10 years ago with the Anaheim Angels. He's a flamethrower. Now he only throws about 32% fastballs. Has a great changeup, though. Always had a wicked breaking pitch, but he's had some control problems as of late. See if the Astros can get a couple early base runners here in the 8th inning.
Altuve to lead off. He doubled in a run in the first. He's grounded out twice since then. Showing bunt. That one's up and in, ball 1. The Brewers have 7 hits to the Astros 5. No errors in the game. Milwaukee is stranded 5. Houston has left 4. Jose Veras had a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. Marco Estrada 3 hitless innings in relief with 1 walk and 3 strikeouts after Zach Greinke started. Third baseman Ramirez even with the bag, and Hart is too, but he's well off the line. In the air, foul. Hart coming over. Back into the crowd, and it's strike 1. 1-1 the count. Wesley Wright in 1/3 of an inning allowed no hits, 1 run with 1 walk, no strikeouts. Tampa Bay got 3 in the 9th and overtook Cleveland at Cleveland 7-6. Joel Peralta won that one, beating Chris Perez. Fernando Rodney got his 25th save. Will Rhymes from Rice University hit his first for Tampa Bay. Kochman and Chu went deep for Cleveland. Foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Altuve probably growing up idolizing Francisco Rodriguez in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Big time star out there.
Francisco had 23 saves last year in 29 attempts. He was a closer with New York before being traded to Milwaukee, and then he became a setup man after the trade in July. Bouncer up the middle is Torres with the throw. 1 out. Now it's Moore. He's 1 for 3. In the Brewer ninth, they'll have Weeks, Maldonado, and his Torres due to bat.
I think Scott Moore's a good matchup for Francisco Rodriguez. Moore has a little bit of an uppercut. Most of Rodriguez's pitches go downward. He can run into one. He's hit 3 in his first 8 games as a Houston Astro.
JD Martinez is on deck. Breaking pitch, strike 1. Moore singled in the 2nd inning. K-Rod worked a scoreless 8th on Wednesday against Miami. He went, and it's 0-2.
It had a lot of bite.
It sure did.
He's always had a lot of bite on that breaking pitch, gotten guys to really expand the strike zone on a pitch that appears to only go 55 feet. Guys think it's a fastball, though the rotation is so tight.
He misses there, and it's a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
He got on top of that pitch so much it went backwards. It broke like a screwball.
Hard to believe this man's only 30 years old, Sparky, but he came up in 0-2.
It is very hard to believe.
He set a major league record, tied a major league record for postseason wins at age 20 with 5 with the 0-2 Angels. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He was electric in the playoffs. He was a difference maker for those guys against the Yankees in the playoffs. They hadn't seen him before, number one. He didn't get called up till sometime in August that year, but his stuff was unhittable, especially if you hadn't seen it before.
He won 2 games in the league championship series with an ERA of 0.
That's pretty good.
That's a foul tip strikeout, 2 outs. And he became the youngest to win a World Series game at age 20.
Get away with a lot of fastballs in the middle of the zone when you throw so much junk. K-Rod does now, but he still throws at 92. With all that other stuff in the back of your mind, it's still hard to catch up to that.
JD Martinez singled in a run in the 1st inning. He's 1 for 3. It's in the air to center field, backing up Morgan. And it's a 1-2-3-8, so the bullpen is looking very strong with hitless baseball for Milwaukee today. 3-3.
The Hyundai Fuel Efficiency Drive Sales Event. Well, we go to the top of the ninth. We're tied at 3. And Brett Myers will make a pre-All-Star appearance. Let's go upstairs again to Bill Brown and Sparky.
Well, Brett is 0-3. He's 18 for 20 in saves. He worked last night, as you know, Greg, because you were here. And he got save number 18 last night.
Comes into the game with his intro music with Brownie's favorite song by Five Fingered Death Punch.
Oh,
I
really?
think is their name, yeah. Back for more.
Did not know that. Ricky Weeks is 1 for 3, a home run in the second inning. Bounces this one through the left side, and that's the way the ninth inning starts for the Brewers. They trailed 3-0 after 1. They got a Weeks homer in the second. They got a Ramirez RBI single in the 6th, a Braun RBI single in the 8th.
Seems like the game plan is to jump Brett Myers early. Seems like a lot of teams are starting to attack him earlier in the count because he likes to get ahead.
Weeks is aboard. He is 6 for 6 in steals this year. Maldonado might be bunting, but his Turris is on deck, so maybe not. Maldonado's 0 for 3. He is bunting, but he fouls it, strike 1.
You don't see many catchers stay in the game to bunt.
Good point.
Must be pretty proficient at it. I'm sure they have a couple guys, including pitchers, who could get that job done.
Weeks fastening the sliding glove there. That's quite a contraption.
What do you call that, Bill?
I have no idea. It looks like an oven mitt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Check that out, Sparky.
You could clean off your George Foreman grill with that.
Lefty Manny Parra's warming up for Milwaukee. Astros have Lowry, Johnson, and Bogusevic due up in the bottom of the ninth. Scott Moore in tight at third. Maldonado takes that one. It's 2-1. Maldonado has 3 sacrifice bunts. Ed Cedar is the third base coach.
It's been there a long time.
Is Turris on deck? Then the pitcher's spot as the Brewers try to take the lead with the bottom of the order here. Time called.
Greg Maddux believed that the toughest pitch to hit or to bunt and get down on the ground was a changeup because a guy tend to stab at that pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So if he knew it was a bunt situation, especially against a pitcher, he threw a lot of changeups low to get that pop up.
That's ball 3.
Now we're in a situation where Ed Cedar, the third base coach for the Brewers, may give a take sign right here. Got to come in twice. He's been in that organization 25 years.
Bunting in the air, it drops foul. And Maldonado has a 3-2 count now. Weeks back to first base. 8 hits for the Brewers, 5 for the Astros. Atlanta shaded the Phillies 4-3. Phillies are 37-50. Bunted back to Myers. Myers will drop the ball, now recover and get the out at first. I think he wanted that play at second and got in a hurry.
He took a peek at second base. He was thinking about it. Pitchers get greedy in situations like that. Would love nothing more than to get that lead runner. See, he gets his feet in position to try to maybe make a play there. And thought better after he bobbled the baseball. Make sure you get that one out. You can still walk this guy if you have to.
It's going to be a pinch hitter for his Turris. Taylor Green coming up. Taylor drew a pinch walk in last night's game. His Turris was 1 for 3. Green at 198 with 2 homers, has 10 runs batted in. He's had 81 at bats for the Brewers. And there is ball 1 to him. George Kottaras on deck. He's a lefty hitting catcher. Down and in for a ball, and that makes it 2-0 to Taylor Green, who as a pinch hitter is 2 for 15. Both of those 2 hits have been homers. He's a Canadian. Now 3-0 to Green.
Andrew McCutchen hit a couple more home runs today for the Pirates. They're still playing. Going into the All-Star break with 18 home runs and close to 60 RBIs.
He's going to be in the home run hitting contest now. That's ball 4. Green draws the pinch walk. And now it's George Kataris pinch hitting for the pitcher, K-Rod. Francisco Rodriguez in 1 inning allowed no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. So that means 5 innings of no-hit baseball from the Milwaukee relief corps today.
Wow.
And it's 6 going back to Greinke's last inning. The Astros have not had a hit since the 2nd. George Kataris with a batting average of .231 has 78 at bats. He has 3 homers, 12 runs batted in. John Axford getting loose. He is the closer. Kataris has been sensational pinch hitting, 6 for 18 with a homer, 5 driven in.
Yeah, he doesn't catch a whole lot unless he's on Team Canada. When he comes off the bench, he's lethal.
He looks at that one for a ball, and it's a 1-1 count to Kataris. Jonathan Lucroy was the guy who was off to a sizzling start, broke his hand, and they're hoping to have him back before the end of July. He was hitting .345. And that was a big loss when he went down. No, 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
His batting average with runners in scoring position was close to 500. LaCroix this year, and to have that leave your lineup created a big void, especially with Prince Fielder gone.
Kataris hits a little tap back to Myers. He gets it to Johnson. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. 2 outs now. And Aoki coming up.
Well, despite not getting a couple of calls in the strike zone, Brett Myers falls behind Kataris and gets an easy tap back to the mound. So you're in a pretty good situation if you're Brett, especially with the control he has in that Aoki with the base open. You could pitch around him a little bit. And with the way Nyjer Morgan on deck has struggled this year, that might be the guy you want to go after.
Aoki's been on 3 times with a single and a pair of walks. Weeks is the runner at 3rd with Green on at 2nd. That's ball 1 to Aoki.
Still not giving him the high strike zone. Aoki does a good job of staying in that crouch. That one looked a little higher, yeah.
It's 2-0 to him. Colorado won at Washington 4-3 with a run in the 9th. Rex Brothers picked up that win, beating Tyler Clippard. Rafael Betancourt got his 15th save. Eric Young Jr. hit his first homer. That's a strike. That makes it 2-1. And Ian Desmond picked up home run number 17 for the Nationals.
He's going to miss the All-Star game. He played today.
Yeah.
He's going to miss the game due to either he's tired or injured.
Line back to Myers.
Wow.
That's the way the 9th inning ends for Milwaukee with a scorcher up the middle. It's no runs a hit. 2 men left in scoring position. Can the Astros win it in the bottom of the 9th? Tied 3-3. Jed Lowry will be leading it off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. We'll see what kind of magic he can pull out here in the last of the ninth, trying to get the Astros in front and winning this ball game in the bottom of the 9th. They had a 3-0 lead after one, and now it's 3-3 with Manny Parra taking over on the mound in this 3-3 affair. Lefty reliever, formerly a starter, will be pitcher number 5. Cody Ransom takes over at shortstop for his tourist, batting in the number 8 spot.
Manny Parra, big tall lefty. We've seen him a lot as a starting pitcher, but like so many of the others, 38 innings, 42 punch outs. A lot of these guys striking out over a batter an inning. Manny Parra, no exception. He's done real well out of the bullpen for these guys. I kind of like Jed Lowry batting from the right side with the short porch. The Crawford box is out there, though.
Lowry has hit 197 as a right-handed batter, but was much better last year from this side of the plate with Boston. He has 2 home runs and 66 at-bats right-handed. And he's gone 2 for 9 in this series, so trying to rediscover that right-handed success he's had in the American League. He comes up in this game 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts and a walk. And takes ball 1 from Parra. It's been an impressive run for the Milwaukee pitchers since the 3-run Houston first. Just 1 hit for the Astros, a Scott Moore second inning single, and 1 other base runner, a walk to Lowry in the 6th. He was erased on a double play ball.
Never would have thought that after the first inning, the way the Astros were being patient.
Aoki comes in right. That's 1 out for Parra. Axford was getting ready, but Milwaukee did not provide a lead for the bottom of the 9th inning, so it's the lefty Parra working. And he works now to Chris Johnson, who's 1 for 3. Brian Bogusevic is on deck.
Infield and outfield playing pretty straight away. They shade him a little bit toward the right side in the outfield.
Johnson with strike 1. He's 1 for 4, and that 1 hit a homer off Parra. And their matchups down through the last couple of years. That home run came here at Houston when Parra was a starting pitcher last year.
How do you think Johnson's looked at first base, Bill?
Good.
Yeah.
You know, there was that one tricky play where he came in and fielded the little top ball of the bunt and tossed to Altuve, and he handled it well. Didn't panic at all.
I think a lot of times you get a guy whose dad spent his entire career in the game. I think guys could probably move around to different positions because they've been coached well.
He looks natural over there.
Really does.
He swung at that and struck out. 2 outs now.
Tried to hold up on the swing. May have been a strike anyway, but the movement on that off-speed delivery from Manny Parra is what got Chris Johnson. There's a scorebook. I wonder if that's Marianne Cheatham we saw earlier. No?
Well, it's not Marianne, but that lady's just as much into the game as she was.
Yeah.
Bogusevic's 0 for 2 with a walk. There's ball 1 with Chris Snyder on deck.
Holbrook's definitely had a low strike zone today. Hadn't given many of those high strikes, and as long as they keep it that way, that's fine.
Popped up. Weeks over to his right. Ransom moves out of the way. And we have extra innings from Minute Maid Park with the score after 9. Brewers 3, Astros 3.
Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Well, the Astros have a new pitcher, a double switch, another change. Bill Brown will fill us all in.
Matt Dominguez is the new third baseman. Scott Moore has moved across the diamond from third to first base. Chris Johnson coming out of the game after going 1 for 4. And it's Fernando Rodriguez on the mound for the 10th inning with a 1-7 record and a 6.25 ERA.
Fernando has become Brad Mills' go-to guy in tough situations since Wilton Lopez has been on the disabled list. Last 3 outings have been clean. 31 innings, 31 punch-outs. Seen a lot of these guys come into the ball game, crucial situations, getting that swing and miss. Fernando's got a great curveball.
Brett Myers in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, no runs. He had 1 walk and no strikeouts. Rodriguez, pitcher number 5 of the day for Brad Mills. It'll be Morgan, Braun, and Ramirez due up in the 10th. The Astros are 0-7 in extra inning games. Brewers are 5-7. The Astros will have Snyder, Dominguez, who's in the 9 spot, and Schaefer due up in the bottom half of the inning.
Talking about that 0-7 and talking with Brad Mills before the game and what this team needs to do to kind of get over the hump and get better. And he just says you just have to experience things. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
He just wants these guys to play with conviction. If they're throwing the ball, he wants them to have conviction. If they're running the bases, same. Just play hard. If you make mistakes, they can work with that.
Morgan bunted it back over the screen. He's 0 for 3 with a sac bunt. And he's either been showing bunt or bunting.
Yeah.
Much of the day, huh?
Wow. That looked pretty good.
It sure did. 1-1. Fernando got a hold last night, coming in with the bases loaded. 1 run scoring on a wild pitch, but in 2/3 of an inning, allowed no hits, no runs. And bat moved on that one, but let's see. He's calling it a strike. Niger's shoulders are slumping. Looking back at Sam Holbrook.
Yeah, he got it out there. I'm surprised they didn't peel down to third base, but he did go.
It's 1-2.
Look at pitch number 2 right there. That's right down the middle.
Boy. Started the bat on that one. They appealed to third. He checked his swing. Joe West with the call.
That's a dirty curveball right there.
Yeah.
I think he went on this one too. Nope. Good hold up.
And Sparky, without any base runners, that's a good time for him to throw that pitch. He doesn't have to worry about somebody moving up on a wild pitch.
Yeah. It's just such a good pitch. Typically, if it goes up from his hand first, it's a little bit of a hanger, but when it comes out below his hand, it's really, really good. This is a guy you desperately want to go after in this situation with Braun on deck, though. I don't think I would waste a curveball right here. I'd just keep pumping fastballs.
Yeah. Well, Brad Mills was saying that he's going to be really happy when Wilton Lopez comes back, which could be Friday. Have him and Fernando to bring in, get out of jams.
Yes.
Give him a couple of options. And tied for ball 3. Now 3-2. Now I don't think he can afford a curveball here unless he's just really confident with it, Sparky. But after missing with that one, don't know if he wants to come back with that pitch here.
That 2-2, I mean, for me, that's an action pitch. I mean, you want the guy to put that one in play because now he doesn't have any doubt on what pitch it's going to be.
Yep. And he walked him. Whoa. Apparently the scoreboard was wrong.
Yeah,
it is a walk. Okay.
Yep.
Morgan didn't know. Well, the scoreboard had been wrong earlier, so they must have corrected that. That's ball 4.
Yep.
And now Willie Run. He's 7 for 10 in stolen bases.
I don't think they're going to want to take the bat out of Braun's hands with no outs. But I think if it gets to 1 or 2 outs, I think you'll see Niger run.
Braun doubled in the 6th inning and came home on a Ramirez single. He singled in the tying run in the 8th after Aoki had been sacrificed to second. Then Braun stole second and third, and he was stranded at third base. The Brewers have left 7. The Astros have stranded 4.
He's going.
He is going. Here's the throw. It's high and he's safe. Stolen base number 8 for Morgan. And the 3rd by a Brewer today.
I think they had a pretty good book on the time, how long Fernando Rodriguez takes to deliver the ball to home plate. Because Niger, no second guessing, gets in scoring position with no outs right away. And if I'm Brad Mills, I'm thinking about putting Braun on.
Yes. And he comes out now to join this discussion. That would probably be the decision a lot of people would make. Go ahead and walk Braun.
Especially once you fall behind in the count. But that's why I would probably keep my base stealer closer to the bag for the first part of the at bat anyway. See if he could get it in a favorable count to hit.
The pitch was ball 1, so he's already ahead in the count, and they're going to put him on. Pretty conventional move to set it up for a double play on Ramirez. Whoops, that one wasn't very far outside.
Pitchers don't like to decelerate.
2-0. He almost could have hit that pitch.
There you go. You still have to accelerate even if you're throwing it easier. You just don't take as big of an arc with your arm. But that's why guys run into problems throwing to the bases sometimes, because they decelerate and kind of goose the ball toward first or second base.
Runners at first and second, nobody out. Ramirez struck out in a key situation in the 8th inning against Brandon Lyon on some good breaking balls. He singled in that run in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 4. And when Braun stole second, there had been a double play in order, and we noted at the time that Ramirez has grounded into 8 of those this year. And that is tops on the Brewer team. That's what the Astros are hoping for here with Corey Hart on deck.
They've been enticing Ramirez with a lot of sliders away. Fernando doesn't throw a slider, so comes with the heater in first pitch.
Strike to Ramirez. He loves to jump on those first pitch fastballs.
Typically a guy with fastball curveball combinations, not much of a ground ball pitcher, but Fernando does seem to get plenty of ground balls.
Runners go, and it's fouled. No balls, 2 strikes. Roger Morgan took off, so did Braun behind him.
See which way Snyder was going with this throw. Looked like he was squaring off to go to third base. A lot of times you'll throw for that trailing runner. But you want to keep Niger Morgan off of third base right here, especially with no outs. Getting a good secondary, looking in at home plate, see if he can get a good read if it's going to be a breaking ball.
And the turn back towards second.
It's a good time for that. A lot of times you'll see catchers give multiple signs so the runner on second base can't relay it. It'll be second sign or outs +1 or something like that.
Morgan's drawing several looks from Fernando Rodriguez, and the game slows down. Pittsburgh pounded the Giants 13-2. A.J. Burnett beating Tim Lincecum.
So Lincecum's going to throw the Saturday game after the All-Star break against the Astros. ERA around 6.3.
1-2. Matt Cain will go in the Sunday game. Pablo Sandoval hit his 8th for San Francisco. Neil Walker number 6, and as you mentioned earlier, McCutchen 17 and 18 for the Pirates.
Wow.
So they've got to be feeling their oats going into the All-Star break. This one kicks away from Snyder. The runners move up to second and third, and that is big. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Great anticipation by Morgan and Braun. You watch the trajectory of the pitch, and as soon as you see it going toward the dirt, your weight's out on that front foot, and you just react. It's a big advancement by the Brewers right there.
5th wild pitch for Fernando Rodriguez this season. Now the infield comes in. With a 2-2 count, runners at second and third, nobody out. And it's ball 3 and a full count to Ramirez with Hart waiting next.
The way Hart's been swinging the bat, I think you got to go after Ramirez. Maybe run a fastball in on his hands.
And he fouls it back.
Sacrifice fly situations, especially with the infield in. Hitters want to extend their arms.
The Astros have thrown 38 wild pitches this year. That's the second highest figure, only to Colorado. That's ball 4, and the bases are loaded with 3 walks. And Corey Hart is the batter.
Brad Mills talked about Fernando Rodriguez doing a great job coming into sticky situations for his fellow relievers and starters on the team with runners on base. He's done a great job, but when he's gone back out to start his own inning, for whatever reason, he may have a mental lapse and not get into the inning until he has a tough situation.
Hart 0 for 4. Infield in close. It's off the end of the bat, back into the crowd for strike 1. Well, the Brewers are now looking at the very real possibility of a multiple run inning to make it easy for the bottom of the 10th. That's what they'd like to do. Hart has 1 grand slam.
2 for 2 off F-Rod in his career.
Bouncer goes foul. Nyjer Morgan very speedy at third, so a fly ball will get him home unless it's awfully shallow. No balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball right at one of these drawn in infielders might still give the Astros a chance for a double play from home to first.
So you really have to trust your catcher if you want to bounce that breaking pitch.
He bounces it, and whoa, Snyder got down.
Barely.
Barely is right.
It almost snuck underneath the web. See Snyder covering that so-called 5-hole.
Oh.
It looked like that ball almost hit the umpire before he snagged it.
The mitt was bent back. The ball was almost behind him.
You know he had that sick feeling for a second when he didn't feel it yet.
Yeah.
I think I'd take a shot on elevating a heater right here.
Takes ball 2, and it's 2-2.
Sometimes in situations where hitters are looking to get a pitch up in the zone, go up a little bit higher. They're already kind of frisky when it's up there.
Hart has struck out 93 times this year. He let it go, and now it's a full count. 3rd full count of the inning.
This is when I'd not want to be the third baseman or the shortstop 90 feet away from Corey Hart when he knows a heater's coming.
Bouncer up the middle, diving Lowry. Altuve cannot prevent an infield hit, and the Brewers grab the lead for the first time on a little roller up the middle. An infield single for Hart, giving him his 38th run batted in, scoring Morgan.
Well, he got that fastball, but he got it off the end of the bat, but it's perfectly placed. Altuve does a good job of putting the ball in his pocket. Nowhere to go with that baseball. Unfortunate for the Astros, they couldn't get that ball hit at one of the infielders.
4-3 lead. Hart has given them the upper hand, and now it's Ricky Weeks. He has a couple of hits, including a home run to right field. Maldonado's on deck. Even though the Astros are 0-7 in extra inning games, they're 0-2 in extra inning games at home. Fernando Abad warming up, so if they can escape here with only 1 run scoring, they get the last at bat. They get a shot with Snyder leading it off in the home 10th, then Dominguez, then Schaefer. Hammered into right field. And now Braun comes home for a 2-run Milwaukee lead, 5-3 on an RBI single, sharply hit by Weeks for his 3rd hit of the game.
Ricky Weeks been going the other way most of the baseball game. Picks on an elevated curveball, fillets it into right field to get another RBI and a 2-run lead for the Brewers. Still no outs.
10 hits for them. Maldonado's the batter. Maldonado 0 for 3 with a sac bunt. He chases one. There's strike 1.
That's what's difficult about Fernando Rodriguez's curveball is it's so sharp, breaks so big that it can get away from a catcher very easily. Usually when that breaking pitch hits the ground, bounces the opposite direction, so it's, even though you start getting used to that spin, you just never know what it might hit in the dirt.
That's a swing by Maldonado, and it's 0-2. The Yankees are at Boston tonight. Ivan Nova shooting for his 10th win against John Lester. Arizona got 2 in the first and leads the Dodgers 2-0 after 2 at home. Trevor Bauer pitching for Arizona.
Just got drafted last year, Trevor Bauer.
Have you watched his warm-up routine?
I have.
Strikeout for out number 1. Got it going, doesn't he?
He does. There's a curveball in the strike zone. You don't see many guys with the ability to throw a curveball in the strike zone and get a swing and miss, and Fernando has a good curveball.
Cody Ransom's the batter now. 216, 7 homers, 29 runs batted in for Ransom. He was with Arizona, but then Milwaukee picked him up, and he's hit 188 with the Brewers.
Pretty solid guy to have on your bench.
Yeah, he plays the infield well. Former Astro, tons of experience. Had a pitch double in the 8th yesterday. Here's strike 1 to Ransom.
Always seems to have a real good approach at the plate. Looks for a certain pitch, and unless there's 2 strikes, he won't offer at it. He's probably sitting on curveball right here. He wants to get that cheap RBI and just took a fastball belt high.
It was a waiver claim by the Brewers May 23rd from Arizona. Pops it up, back out of play. No balls, 2 strikes.
Still a situation where the game's manageable. I mean, you just don't want to get this to get so far out of control that you have no chance at coming back. But right now, you still manage to get a base runner on and getting a big hit to do something here. So you need a double play.
Carlos Gomez on deck. That one is blocked by Snyder.
That was a great job by Snyder. Look how far out in front of home plate this pitch hits.
Yeah.
To know how high it's going to bounce up. That's a long distance to cover for a bounce. See him give a sigh of relief once he changed that ball out to the umpire.
Sure.
Catching's a little bit like hitting as far as rhythm and getting in the flow of the game and timing. get a little jumpy when you're not out there very often.
Now it's 2-2. Tough sledding for the Astros bullpen this year with 5 wins, 16 losses.
Yeah.
For a while there, they really were getting a nice job done, but everything was working for a time with this club when it was 1 game under 500 after beating Kershaw in L.A. the third week in May.
Just the differentials between home and away as far as records, pitching, hitting. Good strikeout by there.
2 in a row now.
You have a good curveball. That heater sneaks by people. It's always in the back of their mind. Fernando has good 92, 94 mile an hour fastball at times, and he's got a good little tailing action on it as well.
That's Carlos Gomez, the only remaining bench player for Ron Renicky, pinch hitting for Manny Parra. 235, 5 homers, 18 runs batted in for Gomez, 1 for 10 in this series. He fouls it for strike 1. He's the 8th Brewer to bat here in the 10th inning. Parra, who can be the winning pitcher, went 1 hitless inning, and he had 1 strikeout.
This would be Fernando Rodriguez's last hitter, I believe, with 2 lefties coming up.
Aoki on deck. Fastball makes it strike 2. Gomez struck out 4 times last night and then was lifted for a pinch hitter. That's actually 5 consecutive strikeouts in this series after his RBI triple in the 7th inning Friday night. That popped out of Snyder's mitt. Still 0-2.
What's Chris Snyder's reaction after not squeezing this ball? It's like, oh, can I please go back in the dugout?
It's been a long inning.
It really has.
3 walks, 2 hits. In the dirt, and he got him on strikes. And in the 10th, Milwaukee comes up with 2 runs on 2 hits, leaving 3 to take a lead of 5-3. Gomez, who pinch hit for the pitcher, Manny Parra, stays in to play center field. Nyjer Morgan leaving after going 0 for 3 with a sac bunt, a walk. He scored the go-ahead run. Now John Axford, who's 14 for 19 in saves, comes in.
John Axford, one of the more cerebral pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. Great story behind this guy. Signed out of nowhere, out of baseball and working in a kiosk in a mall. Played a little semi-pro ball. Velocity started increasing, 91, 92. Before you know it, he's throwing 97, 98 miles per hour. He's the closer for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's a good one. He's blown 5 saves just in the last couple months, but before that he had a good string of consecutive saves going on. That he was halfway to Eric Gagne, which is a ridiculous number of 84, but he's doing a good job.
Well, he has a 2-run lead here facing Chris Snyder. Chris 0 for 2 with a bases loaded walk. Matt Dominguez on deck. Jordan Schaefer due up third in the inning. Axford delivers, and there's strike one. He was the Rolaids relief man of the year in the National League last year, with 46 saves for a club record for Milwaukee and 48 opportunities. That's smoked into center field for Snyder. And that's a start for the Astros here in the home 10th inning. That's their first hit since the 2nd inning.
That's what we talked about. Top half of the inning when Fernando Rodriguez was out there with a 2-run lead. If he could limit the damage, get a base runner on, you get a guy like Matt Dominguez, pop one out of here and tie it back up.
Dominguez 1 for 7 as an Astro after being traded in the Carlos Lee deal by the Florida Marlins, along with pitcher Rob Rasmussen. And he gets a breaking pitch for strike one. Dominguez was at AAA New Orleans for the Miami Marlins before he got traded. And the Astros wanted to take a look at him here during this series in that final game in Pittsburgh before the All-Star break and then decide what they want to do. He tomahawks one into right field for a hit. That's good work by Dominguez. And it's first and second, nobody out as the Astros come back in the 10th.
Really good piece of hitting by Dominguez right here. Second breaking ball in a row. He just stays inside that ball. Last thing you want to do on a hanging breaking ball is try to pull that pitch. He stays inside. Now it's first and second. That'd be a sacrifice situation here for Jordan Schaefer.
That's the way the Brewers are going to play it. Schaefer is 1 for 4. In the first inning, he whistled a line drive into center field off Zach Greinke. Hard in tight. So is Ramirez. Snyder the runner at second. The bunt is pushed toward Ramirez, and that's the place to put it. Out number 1 on the sacrifice. Schaefer advancing. Snyder to third. Dominguez to second with 1 out for Altuve now.
Cool customer Jordan Schaefer getting the job done on the first pitch.
Run it so they could not have the force of third, Sparky.
Yeah, as long as you can get it to the third baseman. Wheel play wasn't on right there. Ramirez, they're all playing it pretty safe right there. You got the Houston Astros representative for the All-Star game in Kansas City on Tuesday. Up to bat sporting a .304 average.
Well, why not a game-winning 3-run send-off homer? There is ball 1. David Carpenter warming up for the Astros. Altuve had the RBI double in the first. He's 1 for 4. Altuve has hit well with men in scoring position this year.
Got a feeling he's going to be a pretty popular guy in Kansas City. Not only, I mean, because of his stature, he's going to be popular, but he's always has a smile on his face. He always hustles. He's always in a good mood. You can just tell he loves to play baseball.
2-0. Altuve's hitting .339 with men in scoring position with 20 hits and 59 at bats. He scored Schaefer from first in the first inning with his double. Axford with those 5 blown saves, not finding anywhere near the success he had last year. He's had 2 saves in as many outings against the Astros. They were both on back-to-back days in Milwaukee in April.
He's given up 5 home runs on the year.
Misses there and falls behind 3-0 to Altuve. Scott Moore on deck. Axford last worked Wednesday against Miami, giving up 1 hit and 1 run in 1 inning. And he allowed a homer. That was his 5th blown save. He gave up a homer with 2 outs in the 9th inning to Gabby Sanchez. And that's the day of the Carlos Lee trade. And then Sanchez was sent down to the minor leagues after that.
Opposite field home run, too, in Florida.
Strike, that makes it 3-1. Altuve walks away. He'll be headed out with his family for Kansas City after the game today. It would be nice to leave it with a 10th inning big hit.
He's licking his chops right here. 3-1 count. He's getting a heater. He got a slider.
He sure did. That's why he took it. 3-2.
Yeah. Sitting dead red. All you have to do is put a wrinkle on that pitch. Get the guy to take it. Altuve does such a good job of hitting the ball to all fields. It's really tough to pitch.
Gomez in right center. At strike 3. Another slider. Got the job done for Axford for out number 1. Out number 2, rather.
Not only was it a slider on 3-2 count, it's on the corner. It's right on the edge. Numbers 5 and 6 you'll see on that Fox track. Right on the black. You can't make a better pitch.
Now Rick Kranitz comes out. Scott Moore the batter. And J.D. Martinez on deck. First base open, but that would be the winning run. So maybe they're just going over Scott Moore as a hitter. They don't know much about him, right?
That's exactly right. And I think in a situation like this, Kranitz is going to remind Axford of where Scott Moore's chase zone is. So if he gets ahead in the count right here, say for instance, if he had a chase zone where he'd go after some pitches in the dirt with a breaking pitch, that's where they'll go if they get ahead. He could throw a ball in the dirt here. Astros could score a run. You still have the lead.
Good point. Axford from Canada. Went to Canisius College. Trying to nail this one down. Manny Parra would be the winner if he does. That's strike 1 to Moore. So they stay away from the first pitch fastball.
Really good tight curveball from Axford.
Misses there, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Last year, Axford held left-handed batters to a 188 average. This year, 227.
Still pretty good numbers. It's because of that breaking pitch. Going back to it.
Missing there, and he falls behind 2-1.
Kind of tips that breaking pitch a little bit. Starts leaning with his head toward the first base side to clear a little space for his arm to get on top of that pitch. I don't know if hitters are starting to pick that up or not, but I can tell when he's going to throw it.
Moore checked his swing, and Joe West verifies that. That makes it 3-1 now.
Now you're Scott Moore. You're just battling. Anything you can do. And that's tough. Man, I'm not so sure right there, Bill.
Yeah. On most, there is a lot of doubt. 3 balls and a strike for Axford. Toronto's banging away on the White Sox. 11-9 Toronto after 7 in Chicago. Encarnacion hit his 23rd. 3-1 pitch is a foul. Now it's full.
I think he foul tipped it. Yep. What do you think he's throwing here?
Well, he's been throwing some good breaking stuff to Scott Moore. And Scott's been rifling fastballs. Let's go with a breaker.
Yeah, I definitely think the hitter has some doubt because of what he did to Altuve. He may go fastball in because there is some doubt. Try to freeze him in.
He did go fastball, and Moore was able to fight it off. That's the whole thing. The hitter has to be in that mode to be able to hit that fastball, and he at least stayed alive with it. And that protects swing.
That's a great job. As you see Scott just spread his feet out a little bit, shorten his swing. All you need is a lazy base hit here to tie the score. Just make decent contact. Easier said than done.
Dominguez, the runner at second, representing the potential tying run. We have not seen him run a whole lot. But if Dave Clark gets a chance, he'll send him. Swing and a miss, and Axford winds up with a strikeout. And Milwaukee rescues this one. After bringing Greinke back, he started 2 games in a row. They fall behind 3-0, but Axford at the end of the game gets a strikeout to save it for Parra. And Milwaukee takes 2 of 3 in this weekend series. This one goes the Brewers' way in 10. Final score, Brewers 5, Astros 3.